Hi, Karen. Hello, Patricia, Nancy, Tracy. Tracy. I spent a good portion of last weekend with Tracy at the Three Craft Chicks retreat up in Spokane. Loads of fun. Hello, Marilee. Oh, Marilee. uh, so Marilee's a teacher. She shared that with that before. I think second grade, Marilee, first or second grade, maybe first. She said, "Good morning, Lael and Squirrel. Spent my last week of summer break with COVID. Good times. Looking forward to a fun Saturday morning." So, you guys, I have to do something really quick, and I apologize. There's some. Oh golly, sorry. There's just some stuff going on. Life stuff, stuff with friends and all kinds of things, family going on. And so I just got a text. I need to respond to it. So just give me a second. My computer's over here. So just 1 second. I apologize. But here, we'll put this up here. There we are. My fancy sign. So I'm here. I'll still be talking to you. But, oh, Lordy. Golly, hang on 1 sec. Golly. And you know what? If you guys weren't here, I'll tell you, I wouldn't be saying golly. Okay. Anyhow, details aren't important, but just, sometimes there's just some things in life that are not good. No, no worries. It's all, I'm good. It's just other people in my life not, anyhow. So here's the deal for today. Things are going to change a little bit today. It's possible that at some point I have to go to help out with some things. So if that is the case, then just know we're going to be flexible today because I may need to be there for some people. And I don't mean to be like, on Facebook when people jump on and they say, oh, I don't mean to be vague booking, so to speak. I don't need to be vague, but none of these are none of these are mine to share. So let's get this away. But all that to say, we're going to hang out. We'll have fun as long as we can. And I was on the phone part of the morning and then text part of the morning. So we will for sure do one list today. Well, I shouldn't say for sure. We're going to get one list started today. I think we'll be able to get through it. I have 2 of the 3 lists prepared and ready to go. So we'll do 1 or 2. And then if you happen to miss my email that went out on Thursday, the rest of the schedule for August is totally different. I am out of town the next 3 Saturdays in August, next 3 weekends. And so we're doing some weeknight listing, which is kind of fun. We'll be listing again this coming Tuesday, which is Tuesday. Well, the plan is right now, I'll tell you that much. This Tuesday, the 13th. So we'll be doing some nighttime listening. Tuesday, the week of the 12th. Well, Tuesday the 13th, Wednesday the 21st. And again, Tuesday the 27th. So that's the plan for now. And it's kind of fun when we switch things up like that because I know there are people that sometimes can never make a Saturday because of life. So, there's something special when we do a nighttime listing. And if you missed that, you didn't see that notice, check your email and see the regular email that I send out, or you'll see a blog post. I need to bump that to the top. But on my Facebook page and also Facebook group, Lael by Mail Facebook page and group, that revised schedule is pinned at the top. Okay? And then we're just be flexible because you know what? That's what we do. I will tell you also, I woke up with a migraine this morning. Not grand scheme of things, totally okay. But yeah, woke up with a migraine this morning. So you bring all of that. Oh, and now this part will make me cry. Reggie hi buddy, thank you. Oh, thank you. He brought me, Reggie's our cat. Reggie's Sam's cat. If you haven't seen me show you this before, cats are hunters by nature. Reggie's an indoor cat, so he doesn't have anything to hunt. Except he found something to hunt, and he hunts these. These are bubble envelopes that some of your orders go out in. Now, don't worry. You don't get the Reggie prey. You don't get these. There's this special section of these that he can go and get. But anyhow, this is how cats, when they hunt, they bring you their prey. That's how they show that they love you. So Reggie just walked in with this and dropped it at my feet and then meowed. So He loves me. I've got that going for me today. No, it's all good, friends. It's all good. All right, so let me just jump in the chat because I'd like to just chat for a minute. But before I do that, I should probably introduce myself. My name's Lael Kankar, if we haven't met before. Gosh, if we haven't met before, I'm sorry this is the first one that you're jumping into. It just, life sometimes. When I'm not traveling, we're here on Saturdays on my YouTube channel, and we do what I like to call creative listing. So a couple days before, I provide list topics. And we get together on a Saturday, and I then take those list topics, sometimes add photos, sometimes I don't, and I am just listing. I'm playing and having fun, stamping, using die cuts, washi, all kinds of different things. So that's what we do here on a Saturday. We've been doing this on a Saturday for the last, golly, almost 4.5 years. It's crazy. All pandemic started. So that just reminded me, Marilee, I was in the middle of explaining you to everyone when I had to respond to that text. Anyhow, Marilee teacher, she a school break right now, summer break, and she said she spent her last week of summer break with COVID. Oh, so sorry. So sorry, Marilee. That's never any fun. Hope you're feeling better. Anyhow, as we're working, the products that you'll see me use, you will find on my website at laelbymail.com. You'll see lots of links in the description box of the video down below. One of those is a link to what I'm using, and that what I'm using is specific to today, so that, changes pretty frequently, every couple of days. But everything you'll find on my website. And if you have any questions about anything I'm doing, what I'm using, why I did something, if you're watching live, the chat is a great place for that. So hop in the chat, say hello, and great place for questions or comments. If you're watching the replay, which many of you do, which is the beauty of this whole, social media live streaming world, just leave a comment on the video when it's over, and I'll get back to you. Sound good? Okay. So let me just check out the chat, and so I can say hello. Hello, Donna from Western Mass, and Deborah. Sydney, a redeemed rose. Hello, hello. Hello, Carla from Arkansas. Julie from Florida. Hello, Shelly. Sarah from San Jose. Ms. L, good morning. Hello, Karen from Colorado. Julie Francis from Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia. Nancy, thumbs up. Yes, please, thumbs up. Thumbs up, super important. Really easy way to support any content creator that you're watching or interacting with. So awesome. Hello, Joe Disney fan. Scrapbook Sister. Hi, Tabitha. It's a beautiful sunny afternoon after a week of rain here on the East Coast. We've had crazy weather here in Utah, crazy weather. We are where we are, northern Utah, high mountain desert. So I live in a suburb of Salt Lake City, and we get all 4 seasons. Super hot in the summer, but it's a dry heat, and there is a difference. I promise you, dry heat. So we're usually around 100. But yesterday, huge rainstorm, and then I was teaching at the virtual version of the 3 Craft Chicks retreat yesterday afternoon, and crazy storm, crazy wind, and our I keep looking out the window like it's gonna roll back. Our recycle can ran away. It blew away. We have no idea where it went, so hopefully Nick has found it this morning. But yeah, crazy weather, crazy weather. Hello, Jane from Illinois. Linda from Delaware. Hi, Terry. Are you still at the cabin in Colorado, Terry? Kathy's recovering from a cold. You know what? Kathy and Marilee, summer colds are no bueno, right? No fun. No fun. There's something about winter and a cold. It just seems more, normal to have a cold in the winter instead of the summer. Hello, Martine. Nice to see you from the Netherlands. Yay. Martine placed a good size order over the last couple months, and it sounds like she just got it. So wonderful. Have fun playing, Martine. Hi, Kathy from Southern California. Watching soccer. Yes. So Olympics, if you are an Olympic fan, oh my gosh, it's been the best last couple of weeks ever, right? I love this time of year. Love this time of year. I don't watch TV other than usually maybe like 9 o'clock at night just to unwind, and the Today Show in the morning. Other than that, TV's never on. Nick's been out of town all week, and my favorite thing has been after 10 o'clock, I get in bed and kind of start to wind down, and I watch like the after 10:30 news, all of the Olympic things that are still going on, and it just makes me happy. So I believe right now the U.S. women's soccer team is playing for the gold, which is very exciting. And yeah, Kathy said she's just tired watching it. So, right, I'm sure. And they run a lot. Right? All right. Let's see. Hi, Susan. You guys are so sweet. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Just saying you understand, and yeah, just life. So we've got it, right? We've got it. We've got it. We've got it. Hello, Jackie from the Midwest. Julie from sunny California. Arting with my nomies. That's always so fun. Hi, Cindy. Rose Oak One. Hello, hello. Mariposa. Good afternoon. Cool on the East Coast. All right, all right. Good morning, Gerda. Hi, Colleen. Nice to see you. She's been hooked on watching the Olympics, right? All of us. Colleen, and you don't have to comment back. I hope everything went well this week, okay? I hope everything went well with your results. Okay, all right. I think we're ready. So I am going to rotate the camera and we'll get going. So rotate the camera, turn off the lights, turn on the lights. You know the drill, all the things. But I have something kind of fun that I wanted to talk about this morning, and I'll explain more in a moment. So, some of you, let's see. Oh God, I've got lights all over the place. Luckily I still had everything set up from teaching yesterday. Otherwise, I don't know. It may have been to the point where I'd be like, you guys, you know what? I just can't do it today. All right, lights set up, lights on. Oh, thank you, Kathy. You guys are always so good, reminding me to plug in, because I totally would have forgotten today. We don't want to lose any power. I also remembered that right before we were ready to start, something came up, and I was going to turn Bluetooth off, but I did not. So we'll cross our fingers. We'll just cross our fingers. All right. It's definitely a 2-cup of coffee morning, and I am just barely into my second cup of coffee. So I'm going to have a quick sip. Okay. Oh, good, Colleen. Colleen said, so far, so good. No call back from the doctor's office. She'll follow up next week, but I don't expect any bad news. Fabulous. Good to hear. All right. So I'm going to do a little walk down memory lane here. All right. So yesterday I was looking for something. I was looking for a layout, a scrapbook page that I would have done years and years and years ago. If you don't know, I've been paper crafting for a really long time, going all the way back to, I started scrapbooking in 1997, when I was pregnant with our oldest, and he was born in 1998. So I've been scrapbooking, paper crafting for a really, really, really long time. And so I was looking for a layout yesterday. I was looking for one of my layouts. I primarily, when I was doing a lot of scrapbooking, this type of scrapbooking, 12 by 12 scrapbooking back in the day, I would do single pages. And so I was looking for a layout. I'll tell you the story in a minute, because it's a very funny why I was looking for this layout. But I went through about 20 albums. I could not find it. Now, I was supposed to start teaching at 3 o'clock, and I decided at about 2:40 that I was going to try to find it. Went through 20 albums, and I'm sure I just missed it. It's in there somewhere. Couldn't find it. And so about 10 minutes before class was supposed to start, I realized that although I had showered early in the morning, I left the house at 7:30, so showered, makeup, dried my hair and everything. I had never done anything with my hair. And at this point, it was 10 minutes before class was supposed to start. So guess what I had to do? I just taught my class with straight hair. And it felt so weird, because you guys never see that, right? You never see that about me. But anyhow, so I was frantically looking for this layout because I thought it'd be fun to share. I couldn't find it. But as I was going through all of my albums, something started to jump out to me. And so I had pulled these layouts and I wanted to show you guys them. Really what we do here on Saturdays, we are listing, right? We're making lists and we're making lists. I'm making lists in my traveler's notebook, right? I use a smaller format. I make them in a traveler's notebook. Now, a lot of you have been with me for a long time, or you've known me for a long time, and you know me from back in my days when I was doing 12 by 12 layout. So a lot of times when we're listing, I'm talking about how I list in a traveler's notebook, but anything that we do here on a Saturday, you could really take into any type of crafting. And I often say, you guys, if you're a 12 by 12 scrapbooker, you can easily take our list topics and work them into your 12 by 12 scrapbook pages. So yesterday, as I'm frantically going through 20 albums, trying to find a layout I'm looking for, something started to jump out to me. So as I started seeing this, I started pulling these out of the page protectors. This is a layout that I did back in 2010. There's little Jack and Sam who are, you know, I don't know, Sam was 10 back then. But look at this. My title is This Is What They're Thinking. And do you see what this is? This is a list. This is a list of what they were thinking. So I didn't go through the traditional journaling where I'd say, oh, it's Christmas morning and they're coming down to see their presents. I'm not writing a long, lengthy, journaling block here. That is a list of what they were thinking. So anything that we do here on a Saturday, if you, like to be here, but you're like, shoot, I like the community, I like laughing, I like crafting, but I don't really do traveler's notebooks. I only do scrapbook pages. Well, there's a prime example of how to take any type of list. And I just did my I have little present icons there that I cut from a piece of pattern paper. And then I just typed on little journaling strips. And there's my list of what they're thinking. So a list on a 12 by 12 scrapbook page. Here's another one. This one, and this is also a testament why you date your projects. That's 2010. This one, 2005, summer of 2005. Nick was mountain biking and he had a pretty good crash. He actually dislocated his shoulder, and luckily he had his helmet on. There is a giant gash in his helmet. So this layout was all about it's a good thing. And then here's my list. It's a good thing that Euro makes a tough helmet, that you are wearing one that day, that you were with people when you crashed, that Dr. Chris is a close friend, that separated, not dislocated, that it was only a separated shoulder, that you're still here with us. So there's another example of how you can take listing that we do here on Saturdays and work it into your scrapbook pages. Because again, just a list. And it was so funny to me when I was going through all these layouts. I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, I know I've always been a lister, but look even when I was doing 12 by 12 scrapbook pages, my list, right? Here's another one. This is funny. I think I had entered creating keepsakes. What was it? Their big thing, Hall of Fame. I think I had entered Hall of Fame one year and never won, but that's okay. This was one of my layouts. But when I was a little girl in the 70s, you guys, we've done like these, things back when I was a kid type of lists. But this one is dated. Did I have this dated? No, shame on me. I haven't dated it, but I will tell you, this is probably in this 2005, 6, 7 timeframe. Here's my list. When I was a little girl in the 70s, the TV remote, right? There wasn't a remote. You had to go turn the channel. Car windows, you had to roll down the windows. Cartoons, there were only 3 channels. The telephone, you had to dial this way. Computers, there was no such thing as a computer. Well, there was, but not in any of our worlds. So another example, I know, isn't that funny? My Cindy Brady ponytails. This was actually my passport photo. My dad was in the Navy. I've told you guys that. And we lived in Japan when I was 4, 5, and 6. So that is my passport photo. Anyhow, another list, right? And then last thing, this is another one. Oh my gosh, this is 2004. Jack, he's 27 now, so it looks quite a bit different. But hermit crab. He had a pet for a hermit crab. And I said, you call this a pet. So I did journaling there, right? Our regular traditional journaling. But over here, I made a list. I'm like, you call this a pet? And then here's my list. He can't fetch a ball. You can't take him for a walk. You can't teach him to sit, shake, and roll over. You can't snuggle up to him or pet him. He can't show any affection. He can't greet you at the door at the end of the day, excited to see you. But he can teach you responsibility and what it means to have a real pet. So you're ready for one when the time is right. But again, you guys, that's just a list. So all of that to say, if you've been here with me on Saturdays and you don't do traveler's notebooks, that was another submission. I don't know what that was a submission for. Anyhow, And you think, gosh, I would really love to list, but I don't want to start in a new format or something like that. You can totally do this on your 12 by 12 scrapbook pages. So that was just so funny to me that as I was quickly going through, I right off the bat found 4 layouts. I wasn't even looking for them. 4 layouts that are kind of list journaling based. Yeah, so that's kind of fun. Yeah, some oldie but goodies. That paper's basic gray. There's really no paper on that one. Oh, that's Art Warehouse. This one, I think, right? Is that K and Company? Oh, guess what? It'll tell me on the back. Paper feed KI Memories. That paper's KI Memories, I think. And then this one was Scenic Route, way back in the day, Scenic Route. Anyhow, just kind of fun. Just kind of fun. All right. So when we get started, usually what I like to do is have us look at our list from when we were last together. So we were last together, I don't even know. Yeah, 2 weekends ago. I had to look at my calendar. It just, 2 weekends ago, because last weekend I was in Spokane teaching at the 3 Craft Chicks Hello Again retreat. So we did not list last weekend, but we listed the weekend before. So let's take a look at what we did. Debbie at the Inspiration Station said she loved Scenic Route paper. Debbie, did you know I worked there? I worked for Scenic Route. That was kind of my first job. Not like design team gig, my first job in the scrapbook industry. All right. Hello, Mariana. Nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Always fun to see you pop up. It's always fun to see all of you guys pop up, right? Always fun to see all of you guys pop up. We're going to have another sip of coffee here. You can kind of see my coffee cup over to the other side. See that? Ray done, but it says Girl Boss. Two of my ladies that I'd taught forever surprised me with that at an event, and it made me cry. It was right after I had kind of started. It was the first event I had taught at after I kind of turned my side hustle into a full-time thing. So that was really fun. All right, another sip and then we'll keep going. So last week we did 3 lists. Let me just make sure I know which ones we did. We did. Was that really? I don't know. That seems like it was forever ago. All right. We did 3 lists. Our first list that we did, it was July 27th, was good things that happened in the last 6 months. Hello, honey, from the other room. Karen. Really quick, I saw Karen's comment. Have you done a video on how to use your printer? I have questions as why. Haha, go figure. The Epson PictureMate PM400? Yes, I did it in February. So Karen, you'll just find it here on my YouTube channel. Just look for Epson Creative Print or something like that. But yeah, it's there. All right. So first list, or one of the lists that we did, good things that happened in the last 6 months. So you know what, especially now when life gets a little heavy and it seems like it's a lot to handle, this is a great list to do. And this could be something that could be a mental list. So you just kind of in your head mentally start taking note of things that were good that happened in the last 6 months. You could scratch this down in a little notebook. You could scratch it on a composition notebook, a spiral notebook, or you could do what I did and put it in a list in my traveler's notebook. Or you could do a layout, right? But basically, the thing about this is you sit down and reflect on the things that were good that happened in the last 6 months. And you know what? Sometimes this list may be 1, 2. It may have 2 things on it. But there's still good things that happen in your life, right? So it's a good idea to every so often reflect and do something like this. Again, you don't have to write it down, even if it's mentally. But you know what? It could be things like maybe your favorite author came out with a brand new book. That's a good thing, right? Maybe you love fresh corn on the cob. Well, it's corn on the cob season, right? At least where we are. So that could be a thing. That's a good thing that happened in the last 6 months. Olympics. If you love Olympics, it may be on your list, Olympics. So that was the first list that we did, or one of the lists that we did. On this one, we used my dear friend Vicki Booten's brand new Bright and Bold collection. And we used the Opposites Attract stamp set for good. So that was fun, right? Different colors than I normally use. I'm trying to kind of get out of my comfort zone, right? You know how we all get in our comfort zone or our box. So use some different colors than I normally do. So that was our first list. Another list, oh, I love it when we do this type of list. This one is song related. So anytime we do songs or movies or things that we remember from our childhood or from our past, we had so much fun with this one in the chat. This is some of my favorite songs of the 70s. And this topic came from the Groovy Darling. So I saw this, the roller skate and the disco ball from, hang on guys, texts are coming through, so let me just double check and see here. All right. All right, okay. We have to pivot a little bit later today. So songs, favorite songs of the 70s. And we had so much fun with this, you guys, in the chat, because anytime that we get something like this going, it's just such a blast from the past. And what we learned is that obviously the 70s is 10 years. So some of us were more looking at songs from the early 70s, like me, kind of like the disco era. And some of us looking at songs from maybe a little bit later in the 70s. But anyhow, oh, we had so much fun with that. And I had told myself that I was going to go make a playlist. I was going to go make a playlist so I could enjoy and listen to some of these songs. I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. So loads of fun with that. And again, we used the Groovy Darling collection, and all this stuff you'll find on my website, laelbymail.com. All right. Our last list that we did was, it was kind of a carryover. We did part of this list 2 weeks ago, and we did part of this list the week before that. So originally, it was going to be a one-page list, and it was things I do to escape. If I need to escape for some reason, well, okay, that didn't sound right. Not like I'm trying to escape the country or something like that. What I meant was if I need an escape, things that I do to take like heaviness off me, or if I need a break or something like that. So that's what we had started with. And as I started this list, I went, oh, you guys, this really needs to turn from a one-page list to a two-page list, because we really should also list, this is things we do when we need an escape. These are the things that cause me to need an escape, right? So over here, for example, things I want less of, things that I need to do or things that cause me to need an escape. Politics, technical issues, unanticipated delays, just lots of things there. So these are things that make me need an escape. And oh, hey, when I need an escape, these are the things that I like to do, like read, have a glass of wine, just play in my traveler's notebook, get away in our RV, lots of organizing, online shopping. Not necessarily that any of these are good, right? No judgment, but those are things that I do when I need an escape. So that was our third list, and for this one, I used Forever Fields from Maggie Holmes. All right, Forever Fields from Maggie Holmes. Oh, I love it. One-hit wonders. I just saw somebody say one-hit wonders. So you'll see something a little bit different that I'm doing today. I am working from a piece of paper. Normally, I am working in my my 4-year-old List With Me Live notebook, 3-year-old. But it's done. It's full. No more pages. There's no room at the end in the book to keep writing our list for Saturday. So I'm kind of writing on this. Anyone who had bought one of these in the past, or your version of one of these, I sent out a survey asking for, hey, what do you like? What don't you like? What would you like to see changed? So I'll be making another one of these because I need another one for me too. But this stuff I'm going to have to transfer because I have loads of list ideas in here. So I want to come to the list ideas, and this is one-hit wonders. One-hit wonders. And I bet this is the kind of thing, one-hit wonders, so music, this is the kind of thing that if you're like, one-hit wonders, gosh, I can't think of any offhand. I tell you what, go to Google and type in one-hit wonders, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, oh yeah, whatever happened to them? Here's a one. Here's a good one. Remember that one? What does the fox say? What does the fox say? I think that's what it was called. What does the fox say? I don't even know who sang that. I don't know if they ever, well, of course they sang something else at some point, but we don't know what it is, right? We don't know what it is. Colleen, I know you sent me something. I have it flagged in my email. I know you sent a list suggestion. It's flagged in my email to transfer to the book, but I'm offhand, I do not remember what it is, but I always love it when you guys send list suggestions. So hold on. Who said Janine? Is it Janine Douglas that said that? Janine Douglas, I think. Yes. I always like to just note who suggested so that when we do it, I can say, hey, this is a list suggestion from Janine or from Colleen or good morning, Debbie. I know Wanda said anything to do with music I'm in. Colleen, there we go. List of plays. Plays, I'm going to say plays or musicals. Like Broadway, right? Kind of thing. Or, not Broadway, but I think that's a fun one. Like for me, it would be like Wicked and Mamma Mia and Les Mis and I don't know. I'd have to think. I need to make a list, right? We need to make a list of that. All right. So let's go. Let's go now to what our lists are for today. As I mentioned, if you missed me at the beginning, we will do one list today for sure. We may do two. There's just some things going on that, anyhow, yeah, some things going on. So now what did I do with what did I do with that paper? Remember when I said I'm working from the paper today? What did I do with the paper? Oh, here it is. All right, there we go. All right. So it is the first Saturday of a new month that we are together. Anytime that we are, well, really the first Saturday of every new month, we are doing a list that I call About Last Month. Oh, Terry, you did. I saw that. Terry saw Lion King in New York last week. I saw that you posted in the Facebook group, I think, right? Facebook group or on your Facebook page? Anyhow, yeah, that looked like it was amazing. All right, so About Last Month. Here is an example of About Last Month. So I've been doing this format of memory keeping for about 4 years now. I don't do a lot of 12 by 12 scrapbooking anymore. I do some mini books, but I do primarily all of my memory keeping in traveler's notebooks. And what I kind of found 4 years ago that I was missing out on documenting basically what was happening in my life, right? And I think I know, it's one of the reasons why I started working in traveler's notebooks 7 or 8 years ago, because the things I was documenting were changing. Our kids were older, they were in high school or college. They weren't the center of my life anymore, and I was not the center of theirs anymore, right? Because of course they're still the center of my life, but I wasn't following them around with the camera all the time anymore. I'm sure they were happy about that. So I kind of had to figure out how I wanted to continue to do my memory keeping. So I stopped doing a lot of 12 by 12 scrapbooking. And I realized I'm not capturing a lot of the things that I would normally capture and just having, fun with doing scrapbook pages. So that's when I started doing this About Last Month. So the whole concept behind About Last Month is I add photos and I make a list of the things that happened during that month. Sometimes there's travel. Usually in our life right now, we're just doing a lot of traveling, both Nick and I for my business and his job. And then just, personally. That's a really important part of our lives, so we make it a priority. Lots of traveling, concerts, things like that. But other times, it might be things like, hey, you know what? I totally reorganized my scrapbook room or my craft room. Bought fresh flowers from Trader Joe's and they made me happy. Totally purged our master closet. So lots of different things kind of happening that I'm listing in my About Last Month. So super easy because basically for a year, it's the same format. I'm using the same stamp set and it makes it super approachable because I'm not trying to, take a whole 12 by 12 spread or 12 by 12 piece of paper or do 12 by 12 piece of paper and try to figure out how to document what's happening in my life. Super easy, same format, more or less every month. And I go. So that is what we're going to start with today, about last month for the month of July. This little nice spread of product that I had out, and it's what you saw in the flat lay. This is the one that we're not going to get to today. This one we will start with on Tuesday night, all right? Tuesday night this coming week, which would be the 13th. Okay, so starting with a brand new blank slate here, right? The one thing that does change, I started changing this up after the first, well, probably really after the second year. I started changing how I do photos on the right-hand side. And when I say how I do photos, sometimes I'm doing lots of photos, like this one that we saw. That one has 10 photos on it, right? So sometimes I'm doing 10 photos, just that's one photo, but 10 little pictures on one photo. Sometimes I'm doing film strips. Sometimes I am doing, when I say film strips, like the little, photo booth strips. Sometimes I have more photos, sometimes I have less photos, just depending on what's going on. So this time I decided to go with 1, 2, 3, 4 vertical photos. That is printed on a 5x7 piece of photo paper. The printer that I use in pretty much every traveler's notebook, anything I do, is the Epson PictureMate PM400. It is a little fantastic power horse little printer. It prints 3.5x5s, 4x6s, and 5x7s, which is mostly what I'm adding in my traveler's notebook. There's an app that goes along with it. The app is called the Epson Creative Print app. And it is the app where all the power comes into that printer. That is how I do that. No special printer. I don't have to have a little small printer in order to print my little small photos. That's printed on a 5x7. Same for this one. All of those photos are printed through that app using that Epson PictureMate printer and little 5x7. So it's pretty powerful. I have linked the printer in the description box of the video down below. And then as Karen was asking about earlier, that video, I did a video where I walk you through that app. And even if you use that app, I highly encourage you to take a look at that video where I'm walking you through, because I've used the printer for 5 years. There's lots of tips and tricks that I've learned that make life so much easier. I guarantee you there's things that you don't know. That's what I hear all the time. Oh my gosh, I've had this printer for 3 years and I watched your video and hello, I didn't know. How did I not know it did that and that and that? So anyhow, 5x7. I do all of my listing in a standard wide traveler's notebook insert. So this is standard wide. It is 5 inches wide by 8.25 tall. My photo, as I mentioned, is 5x7. But I need to get my trimmer out. I need to trim the width of that a little bit. The reason I need to trim the width of that is because you lose a couple of millimeters from the center, from like the binding or the stapling in the center. So I need to just narrow that down a little bit. Last thing I'll mention about this, that's how it gets printed. But I don't have to use this as one photo. I can then cut that apart and then I have 4 little mini photos. So if you're doing any kind of mini books or something like that, ooh, I almost cut those apart. If you're doing mini books or anything like that and you need smaller photos, you're still printing on a large photo and then just trimming it down. Ooh, I got really skinny there. Oh yeah, Karen, I tell you, and I'm not patting myself on the back, but I will tell you, just the video is super helpful. It will kind of just, there's so many great things that it can do and so many time-saving things that if you haven't used it or played around with it a lot, you just wouldn't even know. You just wouldn't even know. All right, so this is going to go over here, like so. All right, now, sometimes what you'll see me do is I'll leave blank space right here. All right, I leave blank space. And a lot of times I'm leaving blank space so that I can decorate there. I did not do that this morning, but I paid attention to the placement of those 4 photos, knowing that if I needed to do a little bit of decorating, it'd be okay to kind of cover up part of this photo. That's why I didn't put any of those photos down there, so it can kind of go right in that area. Terry, not a new trimmer. It was just the closest one to me. It was just the closest one to me. All right. So I am using for this list, I'm using the Simple Vintage Linen Market collection. So I first add my photo and then I kind of add products from there and then I do my stamping in my list. So Simple Vintage Linen Market. The reason I wanted to go with Simple Vintage Linen Market is that it can go a lot of different directions, but when you do things like that, when you start pulling out specific colors in the collection, then it, for me, kind of works a little bit more 4th of July, right? Without being super like 4th of July, you know what I mean? I don't necessarily want to use a lot of flags and things on here. Nothing wrong with flags, but that really wasn't part of my July. So I'd still like to have the look of maybe July, 4th of July in the US, without having it scream, hello, 4th of July. So I did not, one of the things I was going to do this morning that I did not do was I was going to go through some of these embellishments and kind of cull through them, if you will, and look for some things that I might want to use on this layout. And I didn't do that, or on this spread, I didn't do that. But look at that. So I had pulled out these 2, and usually when I do these, I don't use any pattern paper. I had pulled those 2 patterns out right at the top. Look at that though. Look at. So I'm not using pattern paper, but that's that same pattern. So I can use that. I'll just start with that washi right off the bat. So Simple Stories washi, Linen Market, Simple Vintage Linen Market. Their washi packs, all of the Simple Stories washi packs, have 5 rolls in them. They have 3 that are standard width, so 15 millimeters tall. And they have 2 that are a little bit narrower, which I love because I love being able to layer my washi like that. So I have a thick one and a thin one. So that's just what we're going to start out with down here along the bottom. And I placed my photo a little bit higher, knowing that I would be doing something like this, because I always just pretty much decorate along the bottom. What I want to do, I want to break that, connection of the washi. It's easier to, put it on connected, but then I don't want it to stay connected. So you just want to kind of break that. So it's now 2 separate pieces. The reason you want to do that, as your traveler's notebook gets fuller and fuller and fuller, this is what will happen. I just pulled that out. I can pull, almost the next one out. It's still connected. What happens is, the particular inserts that I use, both mine and then the Carpe Diem, they are staple bound. So eventually this gets so full, it's going to pop the staples, which is okay because when all is said and done, when I am done with an insert, but I don't do this until I'm done, this is what I do. I take it apart. I take off that, that cover, and then I recover it. So I recover it with a piece of scrapbook paper. Generally, I am making that a little bit wider so that it covers those edges, right? Because here, eventually they'll start to poke out because again, there's only so much room for it to, it can't really expand up. It kind of has to expand out. And then I just stitch it, little hand stitch. And there is a video here on my YouTube channel about how I go through that process of kind of deconstructing it and then reconstructing it again. Oh yeah, all of that to say you want to separate the washi because if you don't separate the washi, it's going to make it really hard for those pages to move as they need to move and be flexible. There you go, 4th of July E. Yes, and you know how to spell it too, Karen. 4th of July E. You know what we did one time? One of the lists that we did years ago was one called Lael-isms. Now, that was for me. I did Lael-isms. I don't think you guys did Lael-isms. You probably did, either your own ism or you did someone else in your family ism. But it was really funny because I had things that I know that I say all the time. And then I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know. I guess that's about it. And then you guys are like, hello, you say this, you say this, you say that. So there's apparently all kinds of funny, not funny things I say, but things that, just as I'm talking, kind of this stream of consciousness talking, because that's really what it is. And I'm just here. It's just like stream of consciousness. That's a live stream. Whatever pops into my head generally comes out my mouth here. So, oh yeah, the isms. That's a fun list to do. Okay, well, since we're talking about it, we should just probably get it out because then it's kind of fun to look at. So let's look. I know, because that was a list about me. I'm just pulling out the idea book. All About Me, page 79 is where that chapter starts. So let's see where that is. It was funny. I just remember I loved it when you guys were telling me things that I said. One of the things is apparently, and now I know, I realize I do it, but I say do all the time. Anyhow, where is it? Well, it's here somewhere, right? I know it's here somewhere, but I probably just skipped right past it. So if I don't see it here, then we will just say, forget it. Yeah, I don't know. It's here somewhere, but Laelisms. I mean, again, oh, one more thing. Let me look one more, because it might be is it in family? I think it's in family now that I think about it, because I remember I did a dadisms. Oh, there we go. Yep. I did. So in family, a family-isms. So if there are things that your family says, kind of, well, not inside jokes, but things. For example, Nick always says, have fun storming the castle. So that was kind of a little family-ism. So those may be little things, like little inside things with your family. I did dadisms, things that my dad, measure twice, cut once, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. But the one he was famous for was it takes two to tango, because my sister and I would fight, and then we'd be like, Dad, and he'd be like, nope, takes two to tango. But then Laelism. So those are kind of fun lists to do. You do you, no worries, hotter than the hubs of HE double hockey sticks, but I don't say HE double hockey sticks. Anyhow, apparently I say oopsie often on our little lives too. All right, that was a little bit of a squirrel moment. I'm not sure how we got there. A little bit of a segue. I'm gonna have another sip of Colleen, I would love to sit down and have a cup of coffee with you, my friend, or a cup of tea, or whatever your beverage of choice is. Colleen is one of the most interesting people that I don't know. I mean, because when I say don't know, Colleen, I think we've met once, but I just know Colleen from, the chat. And she just said she saw Grease back in the 70s in Toronto, and John Travolta was playing Kaneki. Years later, she met Jeff Conway, Kaneki from the movie, and he autographed my original program. That is so cool. She also, I'm gonna brag on you for a minute, Colleen, has some concert tickets saved. The Beatles, she saw the Beatles in person and Elvis in person, right? That's Colleen. I'm sure you just have the most fascinating stories, I'm sure. The most fascinating stories. All right. So let's look. Now we need some more. We found our washi, so let's see what else we're going to do. I think we might want maybe a couple butterflies. I saw this red one. Oh no, that'll work. There we go. I'm pulling in the red and blue, right? So this is a great example of if you don't want to go too themey with something like 4th of July, for example. You may not have any 4th of July products and you want to do a list about the 4th of July or list about, July. You can get that same look by just pulling in the colors, right? All I'm doing is pulling in the colors. Ooh, that might be fun in there somewhere. Let's see what else we might have. That's another one of those little blue guys. So this little pack here is, let's see, bigger butterflies. I think we're good with that scale. These are the floral bits. The floral bits from Simple Vintage Linen Market. I just love this collection. I thought it was so pretty. Or I shouldn't say thought, think. Think. All right, so I don't particularly care for these little weedy looking things, so I think that is a dandelion. That part looks like a dandelion. So what I might do is just try to, let's see, cut off part of it. And then maybe have this layered in there somehow. Then it's kind of pulling in. There's lots of nature happening on this, kind of what happened in July in my life, in my world. So let's go to the sticker book now and see what we might want to work in. I'd really like to find some, there should be some little icons in here. Oh, there we go. I'll just turn it over. There are some stars. Ooh, stars and hearts. All right, let's keep going. There's my butterflies. So if I needed a smaller butterfly, I may need something a little bit smaller up here. So we'll kind of keep that in mind, the stickers. Cute hearts. So maybe what I'll do in this, oh, that's another little guy. In this photo right here, there's a lot of blue sky. So I could maybe put a heart up there or maybe a word strip sticker. Maybe we'll put a nice white word strip sticker in there. Not a colored one, but I think I'll put a white one in there. All right, where's our stars? Because I think the stars could be fun to work with too. Again, that would kind of bring in a little bit more of that 4th of July feel without it being too 4th of July-y, right? 4th of July-y. So Karen, I also say H-E-L-L. I say that. But I do not say that on camera. I try to not swear when I am on camera. So, when we're here, I say H-E double hockey sticks. Colleen, yes, Colleen said next time you are in Toronto, it's a date. Absolutely. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. All right. So that's kind of the start. I'm going to just cut these little guys off because this little weedy part, I really am not a fan of. So we'll just take out our little, trimmer there, not our trimmer, but if those were like my, my trimmer, if I had like a, my gosh, my brain, you guys, I'm sorry, it's not really working well today. What are the things that I go snip like the flowers with? I don't even know, whatever. Okay, just bear with me today, friends, just bear with me. And then maybe we'll do this little guy in there as well. Maybe? All right. So what if I cut a little bit more of this white off? This is where a rub-on would be awesome. Now, the rub-ons, I know, don't have, the rub-on, the difference between a rub-on and a die cut or a rub-on and a sticker is that, yeah, that's just got too much color on it. It would get totally lost there. Is that you don't have that white border. So I'm kind of fussing now with this white border that's around this die cut. Try to eliminate it a little bit so it's not so. This one there. Just kind of make this little layer of pieces. Everything there is blue, but I think that's all right. I think that's all right if all of that's blue down there. I really want this one to be, they're about the same height. I don't want them to be the same height. There, I think we'll just do it, right? We'll just do it. And right after I picked those up, that wasn't smart. I'm going to lay these back down and get them exactly where I want them. Good morning, Jennifer. Karen's met Brett Michaels from Poison, Steven Tyler of Aerosmith, Janny Lane, don't know that one, from Warrant, and other members of Warrant and LA Guns. Karen, yes, you love your hair bands, right? That's okay to say that, hairband? You love your hairband, well, hairband, right? Hairband. They call them those in the 80s, hairband, because all of those musicians had really big hair. Well, I'm making a very broad generalization. Okay, I kind of made my little cluster there. Janae, I think. All right. So, once you get a little cluster put together and you get it exactly where you want it, then it's hard because then you have to pick it back up and then put your adhesive on and then get it down in the exact way you had it before. So I'm pulling out, actually I don't want to do that part yet. I am pulling out highlighter tape. Highlighter tape is a pretty awesome little tape that is meant for highlighting in like a textbook or a book. It's repositionable and removable. So it's basically alternative to using a highlighter. What makes it so great in our world when we're paper crafting is that because it's repositionable and because it's removable, we can use it to do something like this. So once I get those pieces where I want them, I can put a piece of that, I need to put one more over this guy too, that little piece to snag it. I can put one more piece right there. And then when I pick that up, it is one single piece instead of 3 smaller pieces. I'll just pick that up now together like that. Okay, one piece. So one piece, now I can use my glue pen and I can add my little adhesive behind all of this. And now put that back down as one piece. Like that. Don't worry, I'll add a little bit more color here because I know that's a lot of blue. Like that. And then I can just pick those pieces right back up and they come off no problem. You'll notice some of those were even, those pieces, even a little bit on my photo. And oops, I didn't get any adhesive. Oh, I did. I just didn't press it down enough. There we go. That's pulling off no problem from my photo. You know, sometimes if you put washi or tape on a photo, it'll pull that ink right off. So that's a really great little tool technique. I don't know, whatever it is. If you like working in clusters, but you always kind of struggle with once you get them where you want them, how to then lift them back up. But you'll notice I had first pulled out the tape and then I put it back, right? I put it back on purpose because I pulled it from here. So because this is removable and repositionable, I can just keep on using it. So this little roll will last a really long time because I just keep reusing it. All right. I need to reposition my fan because I am very sweaty, very hot. It's very warm. It's very warm. All right. So now we're still kind of thinking about this, but I'm probably as far, I kind of have an idea on what I want to do. We know we need to add more things, but I think I am probably as far as I want to go as far as kind of decorating. I need to stop and do my stamping because then I can kind of then do my little decorating after the stamping. So let's move. Reggie is he's sleeping on my chair. One of my chairs where I would normally put that. Oh yeah, let's get out our stamp set. So for 2024, I have basically, I started releasing a stamp set for this every year. So there's one for 2022, one for 2023, one for 2024. So every year I have a new stamp set kind of for this. So the whole stamp set is kind of built around the idea of that grid. Let me pull up June. Okay, where's June? We know it's here because we saw it a little bit ago. There we go. That grid. So the grid, you could use one of two ways. On the stamp set, you have your months of the year. Sometimes I'll put the month of the year in there. Sometimes I will put about last month in there. Sometimes I will put month in review in there. So anytime I am not actually stamping the month in there, that's what these two boxes are for. So we know that this is June of 2024 because 06 and 24. So we kind of have some flexibility in how we use that stamp set. Today, I am not going to use the grid at all. I am going to just use the... Hello, Deborah. Nice to see you. You're checking in between life and crafty activities. Yes, I spent some time with Deborah last night. And Deborah's attending the virtual version of the 3 Craft Chicks retreat. All right, so there's July and Joshua too. July and I think, I don't know. I'm going to pull both out. Month in review, and I pretty much never use month in review. I always call mine about last month. But I did add month in review in the 2024 set because I had some people request, hey, we love it. We always get the stamp, but would you consider giving us an alternate wording of about last month. And so month in review now is the option. All right, so I need to get my stamping blocks out. I need to get my little stamping notebook out. I need to get my ink swatch out because we got to decide which inks we want to use. All right, now that we've kind of picked our colors. So, July, and I'm going to stamp these in 2 separate stamps. So we'll do that one there, and then I think we'll do about last month. About last month probably needs to go on this one. So I have lots of different size stamping blocks. There are some things that I have found are very helpful when it comes to stamping that made me really like stamping a lot. If you kind of struggle with your stamping, there are some things that I recommend. Number one, if you can have assorted size stamping blocks, so you are, you're kind of right sizing your stamping block for the stamp, that is ideal, okay? So what I mean by that, this guy is really large. And if I am using this stamping block for that little teeny stamp, it will work. That's May. What the heck? Why do I have May? Yeah, not all here today, friends. Not all here. We need July. So if I have this large stamping block for July, it will work, right? But that's just a lot for me to hold on to and try to get it centered and get it exactly where I need it and then have a nice stamped impression. So if I have a smaller size stamping block, this now is much easier for me to handle and position and make sure that I am stamping it exactly where I want it. So that's the first thing. That is the first thing. The next thing, I prefer, and this is just me, I will stamp these 2 stamps independently from each other. Even though they will be very near each other, I'm going to stamp them independently of each other. Here would be an example why. What if, let me just do this. Actually, let's pick our ink color and then I'll continue. I think we need a blue for sure. And you know what? Do we want red? We might as well just use a red too, right? So blue, we have lots of different options. I use Distress Oxides and I have swatched all of my inks. I have every color. And so I am going to start with the blue. Ooh, I think that's it. Blueprint Sketch. I think that's a nice blue. We have a little bit of kind of lavender going in a little part of that, but that also really picks up the blue of that sky. And then it's not too dark, right? It's not too navy because, you know, I have darker blues. Prize Ribbon would work as well. But I think Blueprint Sketch is just kind of fun. So I think that's what I'm going to go with. Chipped Sapphire would work as well, but that's really dark. It works with that, but then it seems like it's too dark and heavy for everything else. So we'll start with Blueprint Sketch as one of our colors. Those of you that have been with me for a while, you know all about this because I pull this out every time to pick the color. But I use my Swatch This Inks stamp set. So there's a stamp set that I use to swatch all of my inks. And it's so much easier, especially when you start accumulating a lot of inks. So much easier to look at kind of the color that you want this way, as opposed to start pulling out every one of your little ink pads to try to see. The other thing is, looks different, right? This is super saturated when I look at it here because that's printed. It's not as dark, kind of not as saturated when you actually stamp it. So that helps too. All right, so we're starting with Blueprint Sketch. Now, a red. A red. And normally I would shy from a blue and a red together because to me that's very 4th of July-y. But this is July, so it will, I think it totally works. So we've got a little bit of red in outfits there. Candied apple. So I'm really what I want to be looking at, not necessarily this red because this red is far away from where I'll be stamping. What I really want to look at, how it works with that butterfly. And then I had said, I think that butterfly is going to be a little too big. So I was going to pull out, what did I do with that? I was going to pull out, oh yeah, the sticker book. So let's take a look at those butterflies and see what we might be looking at from the sticker book. Aha. So a little bit less saturated. So that is just a little bit more saturated, a little bit deeper in color than probably one of those that I would use. Or I could even use something like that. So I think, am I okay with candied apple? I think I'm good with candied apple. So we'll go with candied apple and blueprint sketch as my colors. If you are new to what I do here on Saturday, I talk through a lot about what I'm doing and why I make the decisions that I do. I think that's really helpful. If I'm watching someone on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, I find it super helpful for me to hear someone's thought process. Because sometimes if you just see somebody doing something, you're like, well, okay, that looks cool, but why did you do that? Why did you pick that one instead of this one? Or why did that work? Why didn't that work? So you'll just hear me talk through all those things. All right, so let's go ahead, and this is just my little kind of stamping tester notebook. I would never, me personally, stamp directly here first. I would always do a test stamp first to make sure it was okay. So I think we have July and we have about last month. So what I need to decide is, do I want July to be red and about last month to be blue? I think I do. So I'm going to go back here in a second to what I was talking about, why I was saying that I like to have my different stamps or my different words on their own stamping blocks. And this is going, I'm really going to over exaggerate this. But if July is right here, okay, and about last month is below it, if I had both of those on the same stamping block and I was stamping in them at the same time, this one would have to be way down there, right? It would have to be way down there because the Y would, it has to go all the way up there, or else the Y would overlap and that wouldn't work. So one of the reasons why I will always stamp separately. That nothing wrong with that, but for me personally, that big gaping white space between both of those just stands out like a a sore thumb. So if I am using them independently of each other, each on their own stamping block, then I can do this. And I always test first to make sure I like my spacing, I like the color, that my stamps are clean, they don't have any, little lint in them that's preventing the ink from kind of adhering, if you will. So now I can say, what happens if I do like that? Is that weird? It's overlapping, but I don't think it's too weird. I think that's okay. There's a little bit of trapped white space in there still. So what happens now if I play with this a little bit more, and so I can test out a lot of things in here and figure out exactly how I want it to look before I actually dive in. So what happens if I get super close like that? Okay, look at that. That works because I can still read because I've stamped one on top of the other. If I used the same color, let's just try that, right? If I used the same color, I probably wouldn't use the same color, and this is why. Because if I'm trying to stamp close like that, I need to clean this one off because I don't want to stamp my blue on top of that. Distress oxides are pigment-based inks. They're blendable. So if I were right now to stamp, just to ink my blue right on top of that red, I'm going to probably get purple, which I am not looking for. I don't want purple. All right, so cleaned that and I dried it off. I dried that off over to the side with my, just a microfiber cloth. It's really important that you clean in between, but also dry off in between. You wanna dry off in between because pigment-based ink, water reactive. So if that stamp is damp in any way, then that ink is going to react with that little bit of that moisture and it will change the color of my ink. Now it's not going to change it to like yellow, but it will start to play with the composition of the ink. All right, so here's my different things, right? If I was trying to stamp those on one stamping block, a big gaping space. did it again, still a little bit of space, did it again. I'm okay with that overlapping because they're two different colors. This one, not so much. Just for me personally, because the two different colors, the letters start to blend in a little bit together. And that for me, the playing part of what we do here, the playing part of what we do is, to me, it's really important because if you guys weren't here, I'd still be doing that. I'd be like, okay, what do I want to do? What colors do I want? I should test them first. Let me look at the spacing. You should be playing. This is all play. And if you are so caught up in, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing, or how do I know what colors? And then usually what happens is you just throw up your hands and walk away. So this should all be fun. We should be playing, and that's what it's for. We're playing. Oh, I was reaching for something and then I forgot. Let me put the lids on these really quick because we need to talk about one more thing before I'm ready to stamp. Because I am stamping in a notebook that I cannot take the pages out of. I'm stamping directly on the page or directly on the insert, which means I can't just take that out and put it right here to not have a nice flat surface to stamp on. Sometimes what I will do, like this one, I've stamped on a piece of white cardstock. So in that case, I am able to do that, right? I have my white cardstock, I'm stamping here on a nice flat surface, and then I adhere it into my insert. But because here I'm stamping directly on the page, I can't do that, which means I don't have a flat surface right here to stamp on. So I need to give myself a flat surface to stamp on, and that is a pencil board. So pencil board, fancy name for a flat surface that in this case I can slide under my page to give me now a flat surface to stamp on. I have them on my website. That is a 1/8 inch piece of clear acrylic that has some things etched into it, my name and brand and all that, but has a grid etched into it on the back. The nice thing about the grid etched into it on the back, you can use this for a stamping block, especially for a larger stamp. You can line it up. They come plain. This one is mint, but they all come plain. They don't come plain. That's okay. They don't complain. They're not unhappy. They don't complain. They all arrive when you order them plain. How about that? Oh yeah, here, I have a plain one in here. So this is what they look like. The white is just what happens when you etch into a piece of acrylic. So that's how they come. But then you can take your acrylic paints and look at, there's a navy blue version, there's a mint version. You can basically make whatever color that you want. The reason why you'd probably want to do this is then so you can kind of see through any of that. Acrylic paint, drop a little bit on there, finger paint, dry, wipe with the paper towel, and then that paint deposits in all those little etched areas. All right, that's kind of a really quick rundown of a pencil board. Now, you can buy them, but you can also make them. Nancy Gullison, one of you guys made this for me years ago and sent it to me. That is just a piece of thick chipboard or cardboard that she had covered, so that would work the same. Okay, there's one more thing, actually two more things I need to talk about. Before I start stamping here, I need to see what I did on the page before, because depending what I'm stamping here and depending on the ink I'm using, it's possible that I could have some shadowing or ghosting on the page before. So before I ever stamp, I do a quick check. I'm fine here because everything is adhered on top of that page. I won't see any kind of ghosting. It would really be in an instance when I don't know, let me see if I can find one. I may not be able to find one in here because I did lots of, it would be in an instance if I had, let's say here, whatever I had done, my list or whatever, I had done it directly on the insert. So I didn't have pattern paper on there. I would just want to check for that because in that case, I would have some shadowing or ghosting. And this is what I mean by that. This is going to be a very exaggerated example because this is very thin paper. But look, do you see how on this side I can see that? That's shadowing or ghosting from what I did on the page before. So this is just, this is just a trust me. Always double check to see what you had done before because you don't want to, not ruin, it's not going to ruin it, but it's going to affect it. Always double check before you start stamping to see what you did before. There's one last thing that I need to do. I need to pull this little piece off. I will put it back when I am done, but that is a puffy sticker. Okay, so anytime you are using something that is dimensional, like a puffy sticker, it can affect what we're doing over here. So if I did not realize that I had a puffy sticker here, as I'm trying to stamp here, even with the pencil board, right? The pencil board is basically giving me a flat surface from anything that's here, but it's not going to help with what's here because I'm going to run into that on the back side and it would give me kind of some lumps and bumps, and I don't want lumps and bumps. So all of that to say, now we're ready to go. So I'm going to do, like I did, I'll do the blue first. I just need to figure out where I want to put that. So I have enough room for July. I don't want July to be too high. I think we'll go this line. So I'm just going to make a little pencil mark right there. So I've got my reference point. We will re-ink again. All right, and make sure my pencil board is in there. And I want to go right about here. So I'm stamping with firm pressure. I am standing. So I stand the whole time when I craft. When I'm doing my live streams, I stand the whole time. When I'm teaching, I stand the whole time. I don't sit down because that is how I have been crafting for years. I am used to having a bird's eye view because I stand. That's how I can make sure things are straight. If you are a sitting crafter, that's okay. If you like to sit when you craft, that's okay. I would encourage you when you're stamping to stand up. There is a huge difference in your stamping between sitting and standing. If you sit down or just pretend like you're sitting down, I'm squatting right now. I call these your little T-Rex arms when you're sitting. Your range of motion when you're sitting with your arms is not very much because everything's just right there. I can only get so much, like little T-Rex arms. When I stand, all of a sudden I have all this range of motion, which means I can come high and then come down, right? I have lots more range of motion than if I'm sitting. Debbie, yes, hi Debbie. Debbie, I think it's been a while, yeah? I don't remember seeing your name for a while. Nice to see you. Debbie said, did you say the pencil boards are in your shop? Love that it's acrylic. Yes, they are. Last thing about the pencil board, I'll just bring up really quickly. Rounded corners. I wanted to make sure the corners were rounded because when you're doing this, you don't want to accidentally be poking holes in your, your nice project. All right, so there we go. Standing versus sitting. Stand when you're stamping. It will make a huge bit of difference. I would even encourage you to sit down and stamp on a little practice thing and then stand and stamp and see how much different it feels. It just feels so different. All right, all these things that we learn, right? We learn these things along the way because we play and practice. I need to clean this off because the last time I used that a minute ago, I had that blueprint sketch on it. Again, I do not want to, if I'm working with a pigment-based ink and your Distress Oxides are a pigment-based ink, I do not want to put one color on top of the other unless I'm meaning to blend my colors. If I don't have purple and I want to make purple, then I may want to do one on top of the other. But that's not what I'm going for. So I want to make sure to thoroughly clean that and then again dry that in between stamping colors. All right, so now we've got our little July here. My pencil board is still there. I want to just adjust it again to make sure it hasn't moved on me. And I think, I went kind of low there. Oh, well, it's okay. We'll put July right there. All right, July about last month. So there's an example of where I used the stamp set where I didn't use that little grid. I usually use the little grid. All right, so now let's we've got to clean these. We want to clean them and put them away right away. Just because it's easier if you do that. And then you also don't lose them, especially when you start working with little stamps, like maybe your little, your little bullet stamps. You definitely want to get those cleaned and put away right away, or else they'll run away on you. I currently have two. Remember the other day when I couldn't find the TH stamp from What a Day? There it is. It ran away from me because I didn't put it away right away. But I found it when I was vacuuming. Actually, I vacuumed it up. I saw it, and then then I went like this, and I'm like, oh crap! So then I had to go empty the whole vacuum and get it out. Oh yeah. All right. So let's get about last month on here. And let's get July, and then I think, well, we might do one more thing with this stamp set. We'll see. We shall see. All right, so now we need to do a little bit more work up here, because totally plain, right? Totally plain. So let's look at one of our small butterflies. If I wanted, I'm kind of digging this little butterfly that has kind of the rose pattern on it. Let's look and see. We have that. Ah! Did you see what I just did? Yeah, but it's okay. I'll just piece it back together, right? So let's see if we like this here. Do we like that right there? We'll just kind of lay it down and just see, all right? We'll lay it. My poor butterfly lost its wings. All right, let's look. Yeah, not ideal, but that's okay. We'll make it work. No one will ever know that happened. No one is ever going to look at this and go, oh my goodness, it looks like that butterfly was ripped in half, right? It's not perfect, but it's okay. All right, and it's there. Now we're using it. So we're using it. We got it. All right, now I pulled in just a little bit of, that makes it kind of not so 4th of July-y, maybe. Let's go to those stars. Let's figure out where we might put, I feel like a little star over here, maybe. I wish those stars were a little tiny bit smaller. I don't know. I don't want to put it here. Even though it's totally blank over here, if I put it here, for me, that is a big no-no. And I'll tell you why. And this is just me, my opinion. I have a very large thing over here and a very small thing over here. So the scale is way off. And then that creates kind of this really weird, like trapped white space up there. So I would not put the star there for that reason. So maybe we'll just put the star a little bit over here. Does that work? Play a little bit. I don't want to put it right there because now it's like right below it, and then that looks a little odd. So we're kind of trying to make it random, but random is sometimes a really hard thing to make happen. That works. It's fine. Now, what I would really like to have, we need one more thing there. They say that when you're grouping things, if you have your groupings in odd numbers versus even numbers, it looks a little bit more balanced. So 2, I need one more little thing here. So do we do a little bumblebee? Maybe. We have a little ladybug, but I probably wouldn't use the ladybug just because the ladybug is red. Now, what I'm seeing here, let me just put this little guy over here and I'll hold it. What I'm seeing there is that these two things are too close in size. So I need something that's smaller to go there. So I won't use a ladybug. I won't use a bumblebee. That would be a bumblebee, not a ladybug. So those are just the things that, and all of this happens in my head very quickly. Like I'd be doing this and all of that happens very quickly in my head. But I, again, like to kind of talk it through. So you're like, why didn't she do that? Or why did she do that? I would still kind of put that there and see if I liked it. And then I'd go, oh no, I don't like it. And I'd move on. But I would know why. So I think what I'm going to do here, I need something that's much smaller in scale. And so, I'm going to grab sorry, my back is to you. I'm going to grab a little Doodlebug Puffy Heart. They are lots of colors, right? Lots of colors. So I want to do a blue. I could maybe do a blue. Maybe I could do a little black one, right? So these are in 3 sizes. Let's see. This will be the easiest way to see the 3 sizes. Excuse me. No, 3 sizes. Yeah. Small. No. Large, medium, small, and then 3 colorways. So you kind of have that light blue, blue, and then a little bit of a darker blue. But I think I'm going to bring in a little bit of black because my writing will be in black. So now might be a good time to just bring in a little bit of black. So just a little black puffy heart. And maybe this little guy goes about right in there. All right, so now I have my little cluster of 3. It looks a little bit more balanced. So let's get these little guys put away. I need to work in just a little bit more red over here because I have red here. I feel like I just need a little bit more red. So maybe what I'll do is I need something small again. And really, if I wanted to do a heart over here, my sheet of hearts here, those are way too big. They're way too big. Even the smallest one, the issue with the smallest one, it's the same scale as all of those guys. So I need something that's a little bit smaller. So we'll do a red heart. Red puffy heart. Butterflyectomy. That's funny. Yes, that is funny. Butterflyectomy. All right, so which of these red puffy hearts do we want to use? How about this? Oh, I was able to spend the last weekend with Cynthia and Allison Doodlebug. Cynthia is Mrs. Doodlebug, owner of Doodlebug, and Allison is a very key person that works there, and Allison's my sales rep. They were at the Three Craft Chicks retreat last weekend in Spokane as a surprise. Nobody knew that. Well, I knew they were going to be there, but nobody knew they were going to be there. So that was really fun to have them there. They are the most, both of them, the most amazing people. Just Cynthia and Allison Doodlebug is an awesome company that has just amazing, super down to earth and very caring people. Whoops. Okay. I'm trying to do my little outlining here and it's falling off the page a little bit. Apologize if you're seeing my top of my head. So now that we're talking about, you guys in the chat are talking about meeting famous people, and I brought that up earlier. I wonder, sorry, have we ever done a list about, I don't think we have. That's another list idea. Let me add it to the book. I don't think we've done a list about the famous people I've met. I mean, not me, but you know, the famous people you've met. That would be kind of fun, right? And here's a good example. If you're like, oh my gosh, shoot, I could never do that list because I've never met anyone famous, then you know what you do? You turn the list upside down so it works for you, and it's a list of famous people you'd like to meet, right? So it could be 2 lists. Maybe it could be a spread. Famous people I've met and like to meet. All right. You'll see this is one of our future list topics. Things I am no longer interested in, right? Always looking for different list topics. Okay. All right. So we've done our little outlining. I am going to look for, remember how I said I wanted to have maybe a little word strip up here, a white one? Because I'm thinking I might need something like that right under there to just kind of bring that all back together. So I always say, if it looks like something's missing, like there's that all that sky, if there looks like something missing, a word strip is a good solution. Alrighty, I think I'll go white here. Well, I don't know. White here is going to kind of get lost. Let's find what we'd like to use first. These are just the small talk from Tim Holtz. Those are on the website. Attitude is everything. Always take the scenic route. Actually, that would work. There's lots of kind of scenes there. Maybe we'll do always take the scenic route. And that could maybe go on that one. Let's see. It might be too wide, but always take the scenic route would work over there. Always take the scenic route. I like that there. So I don't know. It just seems like that's kind of completes that little cluster right there. And now we need one for over here. So live in the moment, be in love with your life. It's all perspective. Attitude is everything. Best day ever. Lots of different options. So really, I just need to be here looking for something that that fits, right? I'm looking, well, I want it to fit what it says, but I also want it to fit space-wise. Space-wise. How about today is a good day? That's an easy one. Today is a good day. That was a good day. There we go. Today is a good day. We were in Flaming Gorge and we were kayaking on Flaming Gorge. All right, so there we go. Now we get to the whole meat of everything, right? We got to do the decorating because that's the fun. I mean, it's all fun, but that is a lot of the fun part, the decorating. And I didn't use too much there, right? I mean, I haven't used a ton of product. So let's go with, I was thinking I might want to On that 2024 About Last Month stamp set, you basically have a different icon that you could use every month, that it would work for every month. This little guy, I don't know, that might be too big. Let's look though. Is a star within a circle. So the star is negative, right? The star is whatever is underneath it. And then the positive is the circle around it. So I was thinking what I'd probably do here, and we'll look at both options. I'm going to grab this ink back out again, is that I would do, will that work? Is that too big? I think it's too big. That could probably work on the stylus. So let me get that back on there. Stylus, that is a stamping block. It's one of my products, a stamping block that is long and narrow. Well, I guess it's not really narrow. It's a cylinder. But the stamping stylus is meant for your tiny stamps, your bullet stamps or something like this. Now it is a little bit bigger. So it's a little bit bigger, but I think it will work. One thing about the stamping stylus, when you have a stamp that has a direction to it, right? This stamp has a direction to it. I could probably use it any direction and have it be different every time. But if I want it always to be the same direction, where the points of the star are in the same place every time, all I want to do is that little squirrel right there, scatter. I just want to make sure that however the stamp is positioned, that every time when I'm stamping, I always see that squirrel in the same place. That's your little reference point. They cannot easily, they tell me, etch on a cylinder like this. So that's how we have our little mark. That's the easiest way for us to have our little mark. All right, so let's look. Let's see what we think here. Now I don't have that lined up the right way. I just wasn't paying attention to how I was stamping that. So I think that could be kind of fun if I use that as my little bullet in between each of the things on my list. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Hang on. I need to grab this. I need my face fan today. Oh, good. It's charged. All righty. Let's get that down. I must be glistening. I'm certain I'm glistening. Oh, really quickly. I want to go back and put this back or I will forget. And I'm okay with putting that down now because if I'm writing there, it'll be okay. Generally now when I'm writing, I don't put the pencil board back in. For me, that's a little bit cumbersome. So I am not going to put the pencil board back. I am just going to start my stamping. So there we go. Oh, where's my list? Where's my list of things that happened last month? There we go. So our older son, Jack, and Kat were here to visit. Oh, Vistit. Oh, well. Right? I guess I better start over the whole thing because I spelled visit wrong. Vistit. I won't, right? That's crazy. That's silly. I won't start over. It's just going to be spelled incorrectly. There's an extra T in there, and I know how to spell visit. It just came out. Colleen asked a question. Is that a sticker on the stamping stylet, or is it etched on the updated version? It is still a sticker. They can't etch, Colleen, they cannot etch on a cylinder like that because it wants to roll. The machine, when they're trying to do the etching, it wants to roll. So still a sticker. They don't have a way to etch on there because I would much rather have it be etched, but yeah, they tell me they can't do that, or they tell me they can't do that easily. I'm sure they could do it. We'd just be paying like $80 for a stamping stylus. All right, next up, while they were here, we had brunch at Ruth Steiner. My mind is not all together here. I almost wrote Ruth's Chris. We did not. So Julie said I'd use whiteout. So I can actually fix that. I do have a way to fix that. Oh boy. Look what I did. I don't know how that happened. Well, it's just going to be that way. Partially stamped. I do have a way to fix that. Where is my white gel pen? Oh, here we go. So White gel pen. I can come in. It will take me a couple iterations of doing this because I need to write over the top of it a couple times. Let me get this going here. It's not. It's going to start to disappear before your eyes. Now there's going to be a little space in between that word, right? But that's it so far. All right, you see that? You can still see a little bit of the T, but I put one little, and I didn't want to write over it very heavily. I'm very lightly starting to write over that with the white gel pen. And eventually I'll do that a couple more. Oops, sorry, you couldn't see that. I'll do it a couple more times and you'll never even know it was there. You could use whiteout. Whiteout is a little bit harder. Well, whiteout, I would practice. If you want to use whiteout, practice, because a lot of times whiteout is really more like cream out. You know what I mean? It kind of has a little bit of a yellowish tint to it. So maybe write a word on a piece of scratch paper and then try your whiteout on that and see if it works before you do that. All right. Oh, there's always a way we can fix something. There's always a way, right? Number one, just either leave it the way it is or, try a couple of the different things that we've tried. All right. I finished designing my project for the Simple Stories Retreat, plus the instructions, which is my favorite part. That's the worst part. You ask anyone in this industry that teaches classes, they will tell you the worst part of it is writing of the instructions. All right. Then I also designed and kitted my project for the 3 craft chicks. Hello again, retreat. Now, so far, nothing that I've listed here has anything to do with any of these photos, and that's okay, right? You don't have to have a photo for every single thing that you're doing. Well, there'd be a lot of photos on there, right? There'd be a lot of photos on there. Okay, as we continue, I'm looking at my little list over here. I need to think about, oh yeah, so we, oh wait, not there. Nick and I, we had dinner in Park City one night. We had quite a few drives. We went on drives, not excursions. We did quite a few, I'll call them outings in the new to us, new Jeep. We can't remember, was that June or July? Let me just look really quickly. Yeah, we had, okay, good thing. I was going to write that we had dinner at Silver Fork Lodge, but we did that at the end of June. So I already have that down. All right, I did my 6-month follow-up appointment with my doctor. That's my 6th month after all those crazy things were going on in my head, my brain. Not my brain. It wasn't my brain. Well, I don't know. They ended up being, the neurologist thinks they were vestibular migraines. That was sending me to the ER, and there was lots of weird things going on. So it was good, but this was my 6-month follow-up with her, so all is good there. Sam, at a lunch date with Sam. Sam is our younger son, Reggie's dad. I'm jumping around all over my list because I didn't necessarily do it chronologically. Nick had a business trip in San Diego. Now it's time to get into some of this. We did a trip to Priest Lake. With the FP gang. That's this this group of friends that we've all known each other since college. And 3 of the 4 couples, our kids all grew up together and just like the best of friends. So we had a wonderful trip. Priest Lake is northern Idaho, about 20 miles from the Canadian border. So beautiful and super remote. Let's see. Susan said, what is Jeep's name? Like Harvey the RV. So this is hard. The Jeep's name, I wanted the Jeep's name to be called Bo Peep. And Nick and Sam said, over my dead body, you're not calling the Jeep Bo Peep. And I'm like, okay. So then Nick came up with the word flow. And FLO, like from Alice, you know, Alice Diner Flow. It just, flow has never really flowed for me. It's never really worked. So we were trying to think up some other names. And Nick and I went on a little tangent. So Harvey is the name of our RV. And we started Googling, okay, who are famous people named Harvey and who is someone that they're associated with. So we came up with Harvey from Suits. Harvey is the really handsome man on Suits. And Harvey's like little sidekick is Mike. And we're like, Mike doesn't make any sense. We really liked Donna. If you've watched the show, Donna is kind of Mark, the little, you know, love interest kind of. But Donna, we're like, Donna doesn't sound like a Jeep. And then her friend Sherry, her mom's name is Donna. Then that would be weird. And then we got to the point where we're like, what about Lewis? What about Lewis? Because Lewis Litt is like Harvey's nemesis kind of on the show. And we're like, Lewis doesn't quite fit. I go, I know. What if we call it Lou? That'd be great. And now there's a Harvey and Lewis. It just would kind of make sense. So I'm like, yes, we're going to call it Lou. And then I told Sam we were going to call it Lou. And Sam said, no, you're not. It's me or the Jeep. And I'm like, oh, yeah. So Sam, one of Sam's nicknames that I've given him, so his name is Samuel. Sam, when he was little, I'd call him Sam Baloo. I call him Sambalooski. And then Sambalooski turned into Lou. And for years, I have called him Lou. And he hates it, but I am the only one that's allowed to call him Lou. So he's okay with it. He's like, Mom, you can't call the Jeep Lou. I'm Lou. So I don't know now, Susan. Now we're back to Flo, or I don't even know what to call it. So I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be called. Question, Lael, did you ever decide if you would do a retreat for us, come to enlist with you live? I haven't, Joe. I haven't. It's a huge thing I have to get my mind around, so I don't know. Creep. Nancy thinks we should call it Creep, the Jeep Creep. Anyhow, used to us Jeep, that really small 2-door that we bought that we can tow behind Harvey if we go on longer trips. So anyhow, that's lots of squirreling there, friends, lots of squirreling. So we did a trip to Priest Lake with the gang. We did, we went on a boat ride, I don't know, whatever you call it, boat ride to Upper Priest for a picnic. We had amazing dinner at a restaurant there on the other side of the lake called Elkins. We always go there when we're up there. Then Nick and I did another little trip. We're, like I said, we're in our, I guess, the era that we're like in our empty nesters. So Ms. L, it's funny. Nick, so Ms. L said from the Carol Burnett show, Harvey Korman and Tim Conway. So Nick actually did say, what about Tim Conway? And then I'm like, Tim? I don't know. It just didn't stick. I don't know, but it's funny that you said that. So I am taking suggestions for Jeep names. See, Beep the Jeep. I like that. It kind of reminds me of Bo Peep. It's just cute. Susan, I'd have to see if Nick would, not that it was just fun, right? But if it's something we all have to agree on, we all have to agree on. All right. So next up on my list, we're almost done. We're almost done here. Next up, so there's some basic things. I took my dad to the dentist. So there's all kinds of things on my list, right? Then Nick and I took a trip we did a trip in Harvey, our RV, to Flaming Gorge. So Flaming Gorge is a lake. Yes, big lake with a big dam that is partially in Utah and partially in Wyoming. I had never been before. I've lived in Utah since I was 4th grade. It's like 3 hours away, so it's really close. Really close. Sorry, my brain just went a whole other direction for a minute. Very close, 2 or 3 hours away, and it was awesome. We had so much fun, and that's the first time we had taken the Jeep with us, right? Because we haven't had it long at all. We had so much fun exploring and kayaking. I had to think about that. Kayaking, yeah. And driving the Jeep. Now with the Jeep, it's not like we're 4-wheeling or anything. We're just driving around. It's white. Joe Disney fan, it is white. I love the suggestions you guys are giving. Joe said, what other shows or movies do you all like? Maybe grab a name from one of those. Screech the Jeep, that's so fun. Joe Disney fan calls hers Cruella. Just the Jeep, that could work, right, Jessica? So it's Darium, hello, yeah, Jessica Pearson. See, now we really know we're really trying to go down that Suits route, right? Meghan Markle, Prince Harry. I mean, we could get people like, why is your Jeep named Harry? Well, let me tell you, Harvey's from Suits, and then we can go down this whole line. Isn't that fun? And then Nick went fly fishing while we were there. That part of the country is very well known for fly fishing in the Green River. So Nick did a little fly fishing. If you know anything about fly fishing, you are fishing with fake flies. Hello, Jamie Bosma from the Netherlands. Nice to see you. So I'm just about done, but I'm gonna tell you this little story really quickly. You are fishing with flies, and they are pretend. You can tie your own flies, or you can go to a fishing store, like a fly fishing store, and you can buy different size flies, and they go on the hook, right? Some of them that you see are giant, like this big, and you're like, what in the world? Why? Like, why would you ever fish with a big fly that's like this big? Well, let me tell you, when you're on the river and it is that late time of the afternoon when all the bugs come out, the bugs are like this big, like the fly is flying around you. So Nick and I had driven a little ways to go to this, so he could go fish. And I thought, I know this will be great. I'll come with you. I'll take a little chair. I'll sit on the bank of the river and read or whatever. Oh my gosh. So hike about a mile in and sit down for literally like 10 seconds. And there are bugs everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't working. So I went back to the parking lot and I sat at a picnic bench and read. All right. So there we go. A little bit different than I normally do, right? When I see this, when I look forward as opposed to standing here, one thing that I notice is there's lots of blank space here, right? But guess what? It is what it is. It's super heavily weighted to the left instead of the right. One of the things I might have done a little bit differently, if I were to do it again, is do my stamping a little bit more over here so that all of this would be a little bit more, I don't know. But I'm done. There we go. That's my about last month for the month of July. All right, and now it's funny, if you asked me What was I doing in September of 2020? Probably not a lot, right? Sitting at home. But I could come back to my about last month for that month and tell you exactly what happened. So it's kind of cool. I almost have like 48 of these for 4 years running that I can tell you exactly what happened that month. All right. So we're going to do one more list, friends, and then we are going to call it. We're just going to do 2 lists today. So I've got some things I need to take care of now that I wasn't planning on this afternoon. So our second list, let me back up for a second. Our third list will be the first one that we start with on Tuesday night. And that is using all of the brand, not all of, using some of the brand new You Are My Sunshine collection from Pretty Little Studio, because I am just like, have the biggest crush on it. It is so fun. It's so cute. Okay, so our second list is another list that we do every month. This is going to also be for the month of July, and it is in the news. So way back when I started doing about last month, I was combining the different things that happen in the news with the, actually, hang on. I need to do, never mind. I need to put something else up here. So I kind of have this visual triangle going. I need something else a little up here. So I'll make it simple, and I won't use a bee because the bee will be buzzing around our heads. What if I just use this cute little heart? This cute little, using a medium-sized heart. We'll just kind of put this up here just so there's something a little bit more to complete our visual triangle. There we go. Not that that made a huge difference. Okay, so another one of the lists that we do on a monthly basis is called In the News. Originally, I was putting news things in here as well, and then there was not enough room. So In the News is a list that we also do every month. There's something that happens with news. News can be very divisive. It can be very political. It can be very, depressing, right? So when it comes to news, I like to do a list about kind of news events that happen in the month. Sometimes I have a lot, and every once in a while, I may only have a few things on my list. This month, or for July, there are only 2 things on my list. So it's a list of 2. Because there were 2 very significant things that happened in the United States in the month of July in politics. So here's the thing when we do in the news list. This is something that I promised everyone, and I ask the same of you. We don't want it in the chat, and I will not do this either. We don't want to do any kind of commentating on news events. We don't want any opinions on news events, and I will not give you my opinions either. This is a crafty, safe space, right? Crafty, safe space. No one came here today to get in, discussion about politics or, other news events as well. So it's just the facts. Just the facts. I have 2 photos that I am using this month. And my list is just basically only going to be facts. It's only facts. And this one, thank you, Terry, for the time check. I appreciate that. I always appreciate that. This one will probably go pretty quickly. So we'll do the second one, and then we will call it for the day. And then on Tuesday, like I said, we'll start out with our This Is Us list. But This Is Us list is, I've done a This Is Us list in the past about myself. No, this is me as myself. I've done a This Is Us list in the past about Nick and me, you say me, about Nick and me, and that is it, using the This Is Us stamp set. But I'm going to do on Tuesday a This Is Us list, but it's going to be with me and Vicky and me. So This Is Us can be a couple, This Is Us can be a friend, This Is Us can be family. So it's going to be friend on Tuesday. That's what we're going to start out with. And then we'll have 2 more lists on Tuesday night. All right. So let me get this little guy put away, and then we will be ready for In the News. So we're going to use this one and this one for In the News. Where's my little thing here? Just let me get these little guys put away. because I'm going to, when we're done, I think I'm going to need to reset everything and then do something. Okay. All right. So the one thing I did not figure out yet is I know what I want to stamp, and I know what stamps I want to use. What I don't know is what I'm going to look like over here. So the two major events that are on my list that happened in the U.S. In July of 2024 were, and it doesn't matter where you fall on the political spectrum, they were two very impressionable events. One was the assassination attempt of former President Trump, and the other one was President Biden withdrawing from the 2024 election, and then Vice President Kamala Harris being the kind of presumptive nominee. So those are the two big things that happened on my list for that. Those are the things that I am choosing to pull out. Again, doesn't matter where you fall on the political spectrum. Doesn't even matter if you live in the U.S. or you live in another country. These were pretty big, newsworthy events that kind of are on the radar. Again, regardless of political affiliation, that assassination attempt was a really scary thing, right? It doesn't matter if you are a fan of the person or you're not a fan of the person. It was just it was like a shocking thing. It's one of those things, like if you think about, and I was alive when President Kennedy was shot, but I don't, I was young, so I don't know where I was when it happened. I do remember where I was when President Reagan was shot, and that is one of those things that I will always remember. I was at my friend Debbie Kai's house, and we were watching, I think we were watching MTV, and then that, came up. So this one was interesting. We were here. We were at the lake. We were at Priest Lake when that happened, and that's one of those things that will always, I will, remember when someone says, hey, where were you when this happened? It's just one of those things that kind of always sticks in your head. So there's some things that like that are heavy, that always stick in your head. You remember where you were, but there are other things that are super happy that, always stick in your head because you remember where you were. We actually did a list in the past called I Remember When. And we just listed about, we remembered where we were when kind of big events happened in either, good events or bad events or scary events or whatever it is. So we're going to put this right here. Again, this is a 5x7. This is a 5x7 photo. Obviously, those are not my photos, right? These are my photos. These are not my photos. So when I need a photo for a news event, all I do is I go to Google and I Google whatever I'm looking for. That's on a 5x7, just like this was on a 5x7. But the template that I picked was actually 2 photos. All right, so one photo. This photo actually was already split like that. So it was split, that was a single photo. So photo. All right. So now I want anybody to see this and be like, oh my gosh, we're talking politics. We're not talking politics. I'm documenting the news, right? I'm just documenting the news. So what I thought I would do, there are 2 different in the news stamp sets, and I kind of alternate back and forth between the 2. Normally, I don't make a big point of the month. The month is just really small somewhere. But in this case, July 2024 is historically going to be a pretty big month. So I thought I would use the new Tally Alpha stamp set, those large stamps, to do the word July right here big. And then below it, I will use one of the in the new stamp sets below it. Now, what's interesting, what I may end up doing, I might, because I have them out, and actually these 2 probably work really well again for this, right? They probably would work really well. Or maybe I'll do July in black and then maybe do blue below it, just so we don't have a lot of red and blue again. What's interesting about, at least for me, a lot of my in the news spreads all seem to have the same color. to them, the photos, and I think a lot of that is just because they're politics. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Terry, I remember where I was when John Lennon got shot. Karen said, too young to remember Kennedy. Well, you know, the assassination attempt. Princess Diana, right? I remember that one too. Nick and I had just gone to see Independence Day. So obviously, right, long time ago. And we got in the car and we were on the freeway driving home and we had the radio on. It's so interesting how you remember kind of your association with certain events like that, for sure. All right. So what do I need to do? I need to spell July. So I'm going to grab, it's probably bigger than I need. Hello, dear.
Hello.
What are you doing? Okay, too small. So that's the one I need.
The women's soccer team on the go.
I know, I saw that, but I didn't tell anyone the results because someone might want to watch it. Oh, but I guess it was on, right? I didn't want any spoiler alerts. But I think in the chat, I think they were talking about it too. I have another sip of coffee there. All right. So I'm going to spell July. But just as when I did that stamping, I stamped each of those independently, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to stamp each of those letters independently because I want to control how closely these letters are to each other. And when you are working with, well, I guess really any stamp, when you're working with any stamp, oh my gosh, Nick just got out of the shower and he has cologne on. I can smell it. That smells so nice. Oh yes, there is a little buffer. You've got a little buffer around any of your stamps. So that little buffer will prevent you maybe from getting as closely stamped together as you would like. That's why I like to control. I'm a bit of a control freak. I like to control placement of things. And so I want them to be as close together as I want them. So I will stamp each of those letters individually. I think what I'm going to do is I'll do vertically instead of like that. I'll do vertically because I have a little bit more control this way than I do this way. There's a lot more excess to kind of rock with, and I don't want to rock. When I am going to pick up my stamp, I find it a lot easier to put the stamp face down on my work surface and then pick it up that way. Especially when you start to get maybe narrower stamps, it's a little bit easier to make sure they are straight or aligned. Now what I need to do here, I need to figure out where I want to start. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to lay these guys out. So I have a feel for where they're going to go. Like, am I okay there? I think I'm okay there. So what I'm going to do is take my little pencil. I mean, it's pretty close. It's not perfect, but it's close enough. It's close enough. All right, so I will take advantage of, oh, I need to go higher though. I will take advantage of my lines. So I will line everything up on those horizontal lines. That'll make life easier. So what I decided, I'm going to do black and blueprint sketch. So July will be in black. And we'll pull out my black. That's the black, that VersaFine Clair, the Sukaniko. It's VersaFine Clair Nocturne black that I use for anything black that I stamped. It is amazing. When I was teaching at the Three Craft Chicks retreat last weekend, a lady was doing some stamping and I walked by and the black that she was using, it was really faint. And I said, you know, we were talking about stamping and she was using one of my stamps and we were kind of chatting and I said, so what black ink did you use? And she showed me and I said, so, you know, I'm super picky when it comes to black ink. I really, really, really like a nice solid stamped impression. I said, I really like this VersaFine Clair. And she's like, oh, I have that at home, but I didn't bring it with me. And I said, oh, I have some with me. And I went and grabbed it, and she stamped then with this. And she's like, oh my goodness, I can't even believe what a difference that made. So she did a little side by side, but this is just, it's a pigment-based ink. I call it a juicy ink. I'm just trying to get that nice and inked up. I call it a juicy ink. Where am I? I'm right here. Let me just do this very quickly. I'm going to go right here. I call it a juicy based ink, meaning that it usually gives you a nice, really nice, solid impression like that. Okay. It is. This is brand new stamp set. It was part of the July release. It's there. It's called the Tally Alpha. So Tali, Tally Alpha. Search for Tally Alpha and you should see it. The Tally Alpha stamp set, all of my Alpha stamps, with the exception of the very first one, are named after, so far, cats in our family. The very first one is named Reggie. So the Reggie stamp set came out, I don't know, maybe about a year ago. Actually, more than a year ago, because we didn't have Reggie then. Sam did. Sam did. Reggie was living with Sam at the time. And so named it Reggie. And then now Reggie is living with us, which we love him. Tally is, actually, there's another one in between, Olive. The Olive Alpha stamp set is one of Jack and Kat, his girlfriend, one of their cats. Her name is Kat. Olive is one of their cats. Tally is also one of their cats. They have 3 cats. The third cat's name will not be a stamp set. This is why. And the third cat, Rescue Cat, I think all of their cats are rescue cats. Jack's girlfriend, Kat, had Tally and Olive before Jack, our son, came in the picture. But, I know what's going to happen here. I'm not quite going to be... maybe it'll be okay. So, their third cat, Rescue Cat, they found the cat. The cat was a stray. They found it in the parking lot of a Chinese restaurant. And the cat was eating, starving, obviously stray cat, was eating, trying to, find food, eating near the dumpster. And so they named that cat Wonton, which I thought was so cute, right? So cute and clever, because there's a fun story behind that. But yeah, I won't have an Alpha stamp set named Wonton, because I don't know, that might just be a little odd. So, there is another new stamp set coming out, a new Alpha in September. That one is called Poe, P-O-E. Poe is one of the cats that we have had in the past that is no longer with us. So Poe, I don't know, we have 2 more cats that we can, that we've had over the years. I don't know, I've had cat, right after college. I'd never had cats before. When I was growing up, we only had dogs. So it's kind of an interesting story how cats came into our lives, but I won't go into that one now. But we have a couple of other cats that we can name. After that, if Alpha sets continue, which they should, right? Then we'll have to bring in other pets. We'll have to bring in other pet names. Whoopsie, that one's a little high. Got a little bit high. That's all right. Just a little bit. Another thing happened here. You always want to be aware of what's happening on your stamping block before you stamp. I have a little bit of black ink up there on my stamping block, so it actually transferred. A little bit of that black ink transferred. So what I'm going to try to do, we're going to try something. I'm going to get out a sand eraser. Okay, sand eraser. There's grit in that eraser. So I can try to erase off a little bit of that. Yeah, it's getting a little bit fainter. It's also erasing my line underneath. Oh, actually, it totally did. It totally erased that. So, well, it was there. Now you can't see it. So, little sand eraser, when you have little ink, things like that, and that was super faint. If I had a giant thumbprint, it wouldn't get rid of it. But that worked pretty well. Terry. But isn't it funny? The reasons to have a dog. But guess what? I never said it was, we never said it was a dog because all of those reasons could be a cat. They're happy to see you when you get home. I think all of the reasons could be a cat. I'd have to go back and look at it again. Yeah, I was dog family growing up. Nick's family was dog family growing up. I don't think they ever had cats either, but we ended up with cat. And now we've always had cats. For a while there, I thought, oh, I want a dog. It'd be really fun to have a dog. But this is in the last couple of years. Nick's like, over my dead body. His mantra is no new pets, no new pets. Now we have Reggie, but we have Reggie because of Sam's cat. So for a while I thought, oh my gosh, it'd be so fun to have a dog. And I think I was having that thought maybe towards the tail end of COVID when, we've been spending so much time at home, tail end of the pandemic. Well, we're in our, like I said, we're in our empty nester travel era. And if we had a dog, that would make things a lot more challenging, right? I mean, totally doable, but then we just have a dog that we were trying to worry about every time we wanted to just pick up and go. Are they not like a dog? What? Okay. I'm not sure I'm picking up what you're putting down, Terry. I don't get it. All right. So there's July, and July, I mean, that's kind of a bold title, right? But it's also kind of a bold month. It was kind of lots going on. Well, some pretty big, heavy things happening that month, right? I'm not giving an opinion. I'm just saying, well, I guess it is an opinion. They're heavy, right? But that's a pretty benign opinion. Hello, Shannon, hopeful one. She said, I finally caught you live. I have been watching your videos for a few weeks now. I love your creativity. Well, welcome, Shannon. I'm so happy that you popped into the chat and said hello. Because then I wouldn't know you were here. And it's always nice when we have new people popping in and saying, oh, hi. Cat's being happy to see you when you come home. So it's funny, Reggie. When people come to the door, he goes running to the door like a dog because I think he thinks it's Sam. He goes running to the door like a dog, which is kind of fun. All right. He sometimes plays fetch too. Laura, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce your beautiful rest of your name. Laura's here from the Netherlands. We've got a couple ladies here from the Netherlands today. So welcome, friends. Welcome. All right. Let me explain what I just did, because usually I just do this as I'm talking or just kind of natural. I store all of my stamps, like all of my stamps. These are the ones that I just pulled out for today that I might use. But every one of my Lail by Mail stamps, all of my Carrie Bradford stamps, any of the stamps that are in my stash, I always take out of the package and I store in my stamp sleeves. So my Lail by Mail stamp sleeves, they are available in 4 sizes: 3x4, 4x6, 5x7, and 6x8. I'm trying to, I don't think I have any empty ones back there. There's a 6x8, but basically it's just your stamp sleeve. Your stamps have they're a plastic packaging on them, right? They've got this sheet that the stamp sticks to, and there's the sheet that the stamp that covers the top of the stamp. Because you have plastic on plastic, sometimes that plastic wants to stick in there and the stamp doesn't want to come out, like it wants to stick. So all of my stamps, then I have a little piece of white cardstock stuck, and it just lives, that white cardstock just lives right back there in the back. And then when I'm ready to use it, if I try to pull it out, the stamp, and it's kind of sticking, I take that white cardstock and put it then in the front, and that kind of breaks that little sticky, and then it comes right out. All right, so that's when I'm doing that, that's what I'm doing. Usually I just kind of do that, and I don't really explain what I'm doing. Karen said she did the same. She loves the stamp sleeves you sell, and it makes organizing stamps easier. Absolutely, because everything is in, I need to still do my video, you guys, where I walk you through my whole craft room, but everything is in stamp storage sleeves, so it's really easy to kind of find and organize. Last thing I'll tell you about these. You have some stamps that I do or other people do that are 4x4 and some that are 3x3. Well, I didn't have a 3x3 stamp storage sleeve or a 4x4 stamp storage sleeve. That is in a 4x6 with the top cut off. That is in a 3x4 with the top cut off. Okay, so pretty much you've got a stamp storage sleeve for all the standard sizes out there. 2 of them you just need to trim down a little bit. All right. Debbie says she uses the sleeves for storing die cuts also. Yes. Yes, yes. Where? Oh, here we go. So, also my storage sleeves. So, for example, that's the Just My Type stamp set. In the back now is the typewriter die. So I've now put those together. I was storing them separate. Now they're together. And I store them, the dies, just on I cut a sheet of little magnetic sheet. So those are stored in there together too. There's so many different ways that we can organize our things. That's part of the fun, right? Is just organizing. There's the mini clip stamp and then the mini dies. There's the clip it stamp, clip it dies. Right over there across the room, I have 2 new stamp sets and 2 new die sets. They're not up on the website yet. That's September. So just know, lots of fun things coming. New dies and stamps. All right, where are we? Oh, yes, we're here. We are here. We're ready to do, well, I need to outline, and then we're ready to do in the news part. In the news. So if you're just joining, we're not talking politics. I have 2 photos on my in the news list that are political, but we're not talking politics. These are just things on my list, right? There are 2 very factual things that will be on my list that took place in the month of July. I don't want anybody to just like bop in and go, oh my goodness, what the heck are we doing? Why are we talking politics? We're not. We're just making a list of things that happened in the news. Now, granted, there were other things definitely that happened in the news in July. For me, though, this is going to be a list of 2 because these were huge. These were huge. Huge. All right, we could do July breaking news. We could do in the news. We could do just the facts. How about that? So I just this is from in the news too, and I was just looking for something that was about the same width. All right, and it looked like just the facts is pretty much exactly the same width. So I'm gonna do just the facts here, and then over here, I will do this little one, that definition, newsworthy. So that's what I'm going to do. Just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. Debbie, I do not I do not carry the magnetic sheets, but in the description box of the video, I'm pretty sure I've linked, I just get the magnetic sheets from Amazon, and I'm pretty sure I've linked, the ones that I use in the description box of the video. Or you can shoot me an email and I'll send you the link of what I use. I needed to see if it makes sense for me to store, to sell them. I need to look into that. Joe, Disney fan stores her stamps and dies the same way. It makes it so clean and simple and easy to store and see, right? Easy to store and see. Karen's working on 2024 summer weather events. Oh yeah. You guys, that's an interesting thing, right? That would be an interesting list to do because there are lots of big weather events, lots of flooding and fires and hurricanes and yeah, lots of things. Hail. You guys had hail, huh? Okay. Okay, hold on. Mariana, what did I miss? She said, raise your hand if you are not an organized stamp collector. So you're a stamp collector, but you're not organized, yeah? I am. It's just, one of the things. And especially for me, my world, well, all of our worlds, but the way that I craft and the way that I teach totally changed during the pandemic, right? It had to. So because I'm doing things live like this, I need to know where everything is and have it kind of camera ready so it, is presentable. But I need to know where everything is because as I'm, working live, I need to be able to grab the candied apple ink and know exactly where it is. So I would say, you know what? As I'm thinking, I didn't even stamp any of those ahead of time over here. Did I? I stamped the J, but then none of the rest of them. I should just make sure, test stamp this to make sure it's straight and everything's good. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I had to get much more organized. You can kind of go by the seat of your pants if you're teaching in person, but that's totally different. But if you're pre-recording something, you can kind of go by the seat of your pants because you can pause it and then, grab whatever it is that you need. But when I'm live, I have to be organized. I have to know where everything is, or else you guys would be like, really, get your crap together. We're not here for you to like search for all your things, and we don't want to wait while you search for your things. All right, there we go. July, just the facts. Just the facts, ma'am. All right, so I think then what we'll do, if we wanted to pull in a little bit of red, this is what we could do. Let me clean this off. Mariana said, I store by brand name, but that is about it. And sometimes have a box of most recently used stamps, and those are a mess. I call it a creative mess. You know how I store mine? I store all of my mail by mail stamps together because that's, I need to be able to find those very quickly. The rest of them I store by theme. So for example, that divider says travel. So if they're not labeled by mail stamps, all of my travel stamps are together. And then there's a seasons one. If it's not labeled by mail, all my seasons are together. There's an alpha one, there's a date one, there's kind of a miscellaneous one. Because that's what I'm stamping. That's if I'm not working with one of my stamps, I'm usually, I need a travel stamp. And then I go to travel and look at all the travel. So I kind of mix by brand underneath a theme. And you know what? I think it's one of those things when we're organizing our products, there's a lot of organizing and reorganizing because we change the way that we craft or we change the way that we use things. So what may make sense to us at one point, it may stop making sense because it just isn't. You know what I think? Let me look for something quickly. You just saw a subset of my stamping blocks. I have way more stamping blocks than that. What I'm looking for, okay. The stamping blocks I showed you before are what I use most often. This, I think I have, they're just filthy, so don't judge me. By the way, you know what cleans that off? If you have ink on your stamping blocks, a magic eraser. So what I was looking for, I thought I had, I don't know where it is. I thought I had something like this that was long like this. So when you have a long, skinny, when you have a long, narrow, like this, I would prefer to have something like this to stamp with because it's much easier to handle. I might go on this guy. We'll see. That's a little bit better. But here's something about this. Marilee had a question. Marilee said, do you have a new Traveler's Notebook cover coming anytime soon? I actually have 3. There are 3 right now that are in the works, and we'll probably see those sometime after the first of the year. All right, so stay tuned on that, and they will be very different from the first 3. The current ones, I guess. Very, very different. Jamie, do I have a video of how you store everything? Not yet. That's coming. That will probably now... lots of traveling and teaching coming up the next couple of months. So maybe October or November. It's not the videoing that's the hard part. It's then the editing and all that just takes a while. So on this, I put that down centered. But in hindsight, that's not going to work for me. I don't want that centered because look it. I want to stamp this over here. And so it's running into, I can't have that centered. So sometimes we just need to replace, think about, I think it needs to be, wait, oh yeah, it goes here. So that will work for now where I want it. That's the one that says newsworthy. So do I want to have like a little TV in front of it? Sure, let's put a TV in front of it first. And this is going to be red. And again, I don't want to use one of these large stamp blocks for that little tiny TV. That is just... that's asking for trouble. You want to make your life as simple as possible when you're stamping. So if you can, right size, get the smallest size block that you have that will work for the stamp that you want to use. That makes life a lot easier. We want to test it again just to make sure. my little red TV. And if this goes about right here, oopsie, that's moving on me. My little red TV, I need to clean my tabletop. It seems like you guys probably can't see it, but I feel like it's dirty. Okay, my little TV. Now, one thing you'll notice, I did not put a pencil board under here, and I don't need to because nothing has happened here in the book. I don't need a flat surface to stamp on pencil board because I have a flat surface. Okay, now let's ink this guy up. So definition stamp, this is the definition of newsworthy. I have a little, let me try to do this quickly. I have a little bit there and a little bit there. All right, let's go ahead and stamp this. I need to find, there we go, newsworthy. Alrighty. So there's one more thing I want to look at. So a lot of times I will underline, right? I underline, so I might underline that title before I start making my list of 2 things. So there's an example where I underline, there's another double underline, there's a single underline. I do that often. What I would like to do is underline in red, which gets a little bit more complicated, right? Because unless I have a red pen, which I probably do somewhere, then it may not be the same color, where I'm headed with that. So, and here's the story. There is an underline stamp. That underline stamp has a lot of padding around it. That's why you see all this extra space right there. I designed that stamp to have a lot of padding around it because if there's not a lot of padding around it, that would be a very narrow stamp that would be really hard to ever get a straight line, right? It would never be even. It would never be even, so it would never stamp even. So, too small. Does that one work? Too small. So let's see how this works. Let's see how this one works. Pick it up. Especially something like that that's still pretty narrow. I would definitely recommend picking it up from your work surface as opposed to trying to, I need to be more careful with that. As opposed to trying to place it with your fingers. If you're placing it with your fingers, it's probably not going to be straight. Okay, there's my little red line. So, if we come back here, we move our pencil board in, and let's look. That is just about the exact size that we want it to be because it's right under just the facts. Oh, my little stamp chamois is starting to get dry. Starting to dry out. Need to wet it again. All right, let's re-ink. And if I ink this time at an angle, yeah, then that way I'm not going to get the overspray. Well, over ink on the stamping block. I'll get a little bit. Ooh, that almost flipped itself over. All right, so I need to pull this a little bit closer to me. I need that bird's eye view, so I need to have it way closer to me in order to do this. So hopefully you guys can still see it. Yep, look what I did. It worked, but I got a nice little red fingerprint. Got a little bit of ink on there, so let's try to grab, let's get our little sand eraser out again. Now, I'm not too worried about it because as I'm making my list, it's going to kind of disappear. But there we go. It totally got rid of that. All right, July, just the facts. Newsworthy. These were newsworthy events. Hang on, let me just go get this wet. Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. We'll just put it off to the side. Reggie's sitting over there sleeping on the chair, and I'll have to get around him. And all right, so there are two, right? Two main news, not main. Two on my list, very newsworthy, in my opinion. things that happened in July. 1, 2. So what I'm going to do, I would like to have some numbers because this is just a list of 2. So let me look. I'm turning my back to you for a minute, so bear with me. I'd like some number stamps, and I would like for them to be larger. So I'm just sorting through here. Like seriously, look at it. Everything is in those pouches. That just makes it so much easier to organize that way. Okay, so there's a number stamp and out the window. I could use that one. I could use Focus. Are there number stamps in Tally? I don't think so. I don't think there was enough room to do numbers also in Tally. No, just uppercase and punctuation. Oh, we have number stamps in What a Day. I think those are probably going to be the biggest ones that I have. Well, I also have all of these guys, but I think I have small, medium, and large Christine numbers, but I think those are maybe a little bit too whimsical for these news events. All right, size-wise, 1 and 2. I don't think I know. I'm going to go with these from Out the Window because this is totally different font than that. Everything is pretty uniform here, so I'm going to stick with that super uniform font. This would work also, but these are kind of big and chunky. This just seems to be the one that's going to go the best. So, sorry. Excuse me. Jamie, there are not any shops in Europe or the Netherlands that sell my products. There are a few besides me in the US, but pretty much everything I do is exclusive. As I am looking for, I'll grab this. For some reason, that one doesn't have the paper in the back, and I need the paper. As I'm kind of getting those stamps out, I will tell you what some people that live in the EU or the UK do. Because of the tax laws that were put into place back in July, maybe of 2021 or 22, I don't remember what year was over there. They have made it very difficult for a US-based business, especially small business, to do business in those countries online because we need to collect taxes for every country in the EU or the UK that we sell in. And then we need to file taxes in every country in the EU or the UK that we do business in, which that's just a lot. That is a lot to figure out. That's just a lot that's a lot. So I do not sell to any of the countries in the EU or UK. I sell all over the world, but none of those countries. With the exception of this. Let me grab my little, probably too big. Let me grab my little stamping box. With the exception of this. The one exception to that tax rule is that if you, and what's also, it's duties and taxes. So that's the duty part too that starts to get really complicated. There is one exception to that rule. The exception to that rule is if the purchase is $185 US or more, then that taxes and duties get collected when the package is delivered. That means they collect it from you. Thank you, Colleen. I saw it. 1234. Then if it's that amount or over, then your country collects the duties and taxes from you when the package is delivered. So there are a couple of people. There's one that was on earlier. I don't know if she's still on, but Martine, she lives in the Netherlands. And what she does is she just places an order and has me hold on to it until she hits that $185 US mark. And then she has me ship it. So we've got to do a little bit of a workaround during that process, but I'm also doing that right now for a woman in the UK. It's it's a little bit more, well, it's just kind of a pain for you, but that's the only way we can do it. Unfortunately, that's the only way we can do it. There are third parties, of course, there are third party services that will do all the duties and taxes for you, but it is like astronomical. They're like, huge companies. that would be doing it for, you know, like Nike or, you know, something like that. So just not possible, unfortunately. But I'll tell you this, if you have a business that you work with, if you have a shop in the Netherlands or somewhere in Europe that you work with, that you purchase products from, that you want to connect me with, to see if we can, you know, figure something out where they carry some of my products, then shoot me an email and we can try to figure that out. All right, so we've got something going on here. Do you see how that's really splotchy? Better. All right, so I don't know why it was splotchy that first time. I've used the stamps before. So if you end up with something like that, I probably just didn't get very good coverage on, ink coverage on them the first time. Nothing wrong with any of those, but I prefer a really nice solid look. That's why I kept stamping. So I've got two things on my list. Two things, just two. But two pretty big things. Two pretty big things. Let's put this here. And one is going to go, how about right here? One. Try to clean this as best as I can. Yes, thank you. You guys are awesome about answering questions when I don't see them. Mariana had asked, why do I stamp in that other notebook? And then Nancy said she stamps in the other book to test the stamp first. Exactly. Test the stamp, test the ink, and that's a prime example. If I had not stamped first, then I would have kind of that splotchy one. And there's nothing wrong with the splotchy one. It's just that I prefer nice, solid, not splotchy. So I figure those things out when I'm test stamping first. Where'd those go? Oh, here we go. And then R2. Now, R2, I did not clean very well last time. Like you can see, it has black on it. So what I want to do, I am going, it's not hurting the stamp. And if I stamped with that blue, it would look exactly like that color. But it just has that black residue from ink that I did not clean off well last time. So I'm just cleaning it. Just cleaning it off. Mariana said she thought that my book was another project because it looked so nice. Yeah, no, that's just that's where I swatch when I'm showing on like a What's New Wednesday and I'm showing new washi, I swatch that there. But literally, this is where I do all of my test stamping, right? That's where I do all of my test stamping. What's really funny is, well, not funny, but this was the first one. And it's just, you know, I can have it all in the same place and it's handy, so. But really, anything that you're, you know, test stamping on, it's just good to test stamp. I advocate for test stamping after I just put that away. I would much rather figure out that I had a big hair on my stamp or a piece of lint or something like that. I would much rather figure it out on my test stamp than I would on my project. Notice I've got my little pencil board in under there again. So let's do two. How about right here? All right, 1, 2, just two things. Two things on my in the news. So now I'm going to do my writing. And this is purely fact. In fact, what I did was when I Googled both of these things, I wrote down exactly what they said so it could be purely factual. So this one, on July 13th, former President Donald Trump and the presumptive nominee of the Republican Party in the 2024 presidential, just the facts, right? Presidential election survived an assassination attempt while speaking at an open air campaign rally in Pennsylvania. So probably what I would have done, it'll be okay. I'll start writing up here. I've got a little bit of space in between there, but that's okay. Yes, it is kind of an art journal, right? Now here's something. This is what my friend Vicki Booten would tell me to do. And this is what my friend Vicki Booten would tell you guys to do. Once you have something like this, I mean, really, it's kind of art, right? So something like this, then you could pull it out, take your die cut machine, and then make dies out of some of that, right? So, I mean, it's all over, different words, different things like that. If you cut it out and then use it, right? Any of that, just kind of any of that, you could end up with just kind of little fun things to use. But that, I wouldn't do that because that's just, that's not me. That's not my style. But that's what Vicki would tell us to do. That's what Vicki does a lot with a lot of her mixed media playing that she does. Then she'll use die cuts, her dies, and then die pieces to use in her projects. All right, so the second one that was a big news event in the month of July. President Biden, and just the facts, right? President Biden announced his withdrawal on July 21st from the 2024 presidential election and endorsed Vice President Kamala. Did you guys know the easy way to know how to pronounce her name? And I just pay attention to things like this because I have a very unusual first name. Kamala. Like if you think of a comma in a sentence, Kamala. Kamala Harris. I don't know. I learned that when the election was happening back in 2020, right? 2020. Yeah. As his replacement. President Biden announced his withdrawal in July from the presidential election and endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris as his replacement. Okay, there we go. Super simple list, right? Just two things on my list. I mean, it's, I guess, what makes something a list? Could it be one thing? Could it be two things? Is a list still a list if it only has two things on it? Guess what? You do you. You make the rules. It's your project. You get to decide what a list is, right? So there we go, friends. Those were our two lists for today. We did about last month for July, and we also did in the news for July. I am going, whoopsie. That was almost disaster. I almost tripped. I am going to turn off the studio lights, turn on the overhead lights. We are going to, overheads are, anyhow. And we are going to say our goodbyes for today. I've had some things come up. I need to be doing some things this afternoon. So we're going to cut it short, a little bit short, right? A little bit short. And we are going to finish, well, not finish. We're going to work on our third list plus two other lists on Tuesday. So if you missed, let's get ahead here, Lil. There we go. If you missed the beginning, and if you missed my email that went out on Thursday, that you got on Thursday or Friday, our listing schedule for the rest of August is, we've like thrown it up and tossed it around. I am out of town a lot between this coming weekend and the end of September. There's only one Saturday in September that I am home. And then I'm gone the rest of the Saturdays in August. So that doesn't mean we're not going to list. I put the schedule out for the rest of August. So you will see that either in your email. If you don't get my emails, go to laelbymail.com and click on blog. I need to add this revised schedule. No, the revised schedule is already there as a blog post. So you'll see that. Or you can go to Facebook. If you're on Facebook, go to Lael by Mail Facebook page or the Lael by Mail Facebook group, and the schedule is pinned to both of those places. So we're listing night. We're going to list night the next 3 weeks. So Tuesday the 13th, we're listing at night. Tuesday the 13th, Wednesday the 20th, and Tuesday the 27th. Sorry about that. I had to duck down to see that. Anyhow. Information is on the Facebook group. There's different times. So one time it is 5:30 Pacific. One time it's 5 Pacific. I've just kind of moved the times around a little bit. So best bet is to go either Facebook page, Facebook group, or the blog, and you will see those times. Yeah. So there we go, friends. You know what I just decided I'm going to do? I think I'm a little bit uneven here. I think I might put one of those little stars that we used on the last spread right there. I'm going to do that. Yes. Oh my gosh. So here, I totally forgot about giveaways. I did not this morning. I got really tied up. So this morning I did not have a chance to draw giveaways from 2 weeks ago. So I will do that when we're done. But we'll do 2 giveaways today. Totally have forgotten to even talk about those. How about we'll do this? We'll use the 2 stamp sets that I used. We'll do 1 giveaway for Tally Alpha. That's that brand new Alpha stamp set. And we'll do the other giveaway for about last month, 2024. The way that you'll participate in the giveaways, leave a comment on the video when it's over. So not here in the chat. Leave a comment on the video when it's over. And this is going to be a short one because we're together again on Tuesday. Excuse me. We're together again on Tuesday. So I will. Really, Tuesday, right before we start, I will go to the comments on the video. Not the chat, the comments on the video when it's done, and then I will draw 2 lucky winners, random lucky winners to win those 2 prizes, okay? So that's the plan. That is the plan. Let me take a look at the chat. Oh, Karen, I love the way you put that. Karen said, thanks for everything as always, Lael. Always need this time as it doesn't feel the same creating without friends and alive, right? There's something, and I've said this to you guys many, many times before. If you guys weren't here, I wouldn't be doing this. I would work all the time. And this to me is not work, it's play. So I love having you guys here with me because it gives me an excuse to craft and to play. And this feeds my soul. Doing anything crafty feeds my soul. And sometimes we need our soul to be fed, right? Right. Let me just look. Hope to see you guys on Tuesday, this coming week to list. And if not, we'll get our regularly Saturdays scheduled again. Those will start happening again in October. But we do have 1 Saturday for sure in September. But anyhow, best way to always be informed, go to laelbymail.com and sign up for emails, because then that way you always know what's happening. You're not wondering if we're listing or not. All right. Okay. All right, friends. Thanks so much for joining me for a little shortened time today. I hope you have a lovely rest of your weekend. And if I don't see you on Tuesday to list again, I hope to see you sometime here soon or in person at an event or where I'm teaching. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.